They come from roughly 90 minutes away, the challenger in Chattanooga. The favorite is Jacksonville State, amped up and ready to play. The coaches are set. The playoffs are next. The NCAA FCS Championship presented by Northwestern Mutual. We're in Jacksonville, Alabama, round number 2. University of Tennessee Mocs against the Jacksonville State University Gamecocks. What an atmosphere for college football as an at-large qualifier in Chattanooga faces the number 1 team in the country. Greetings and good afternoon, Jim Barber, and one mean linebacker back in the day in Minnesota, Najarian. We know this much. These two teams in the third meeting have already faced each other twice. Both games decided by 3 points, and both games decided late in the fourth quarter. So, partner, how about some more drama today?
Yeah, I think we will have some drama, and I tell you, it's rare to have a rematch like this, and this is an outstanding matchup because we've got two outstanding quarterbacks, dual-threat quarterbacks, but it's the defenses, and the defense of Jacksonville State, I think, will be the difference maker in this game.
You mentioned the quarterbacks, Jacob Huseman on one side for Chattanooga, Eli Jenkins for Jacksonville State, kind of mirror each other.
They really do. When you talk about dual-threat quarterbacks, both these two gentlemen have great athleticism. I think Jacob Huseman actually likes to use his speed more than he does some of that agility side to side, but you can see it right here. The explosive speed and finds his way to go north-south and finds his way into the end zone. This is a very talented quarterback. He always looks downfield. He can find those receivers downfield as he's scrambling, always with great vision. Eli Jenkins, just as effective when you can see those pinpoint passing that he has. He's great accuracy, only 5 interceptions on the year, but he's athletic as well. Take a look at this, the way he's able to move and find himself and not lose yardage. That's something he does not do, but he can throw the ball downfield with great accuracy. He's going to get that ball into the end zone. He's done it a lot throughout his career. Expect to see more of that today.
And this atmosphere certainly favors the home team, but the Mocs have brought 7 buses to the party. Kickoff next. The NCAA FCS Football Championship is presented by Northwestern Mutual. Mocs of Chattanooga get the ball first. Jackson State set to kick off. And this is the atmosphere the Mocs will play into as we take a look at how each team plans for success. Brought to you by Northwestern Mutual.
And when you look at Chattanooga, what they've really got to do is they've got to contain Eli Jenkins as best as they can. They're not going to slow him down much, but they're going to have to try to slow him down and force some bad decisions. It was those decisions that gave them a chance in the previous meeting when they only had 196 total yards. And Jacksonville State, it's all on the shoulders of Eli Jenkins. He's going to have to be able to move that offense up and down the field, and they're going to have to contain a great quarterback on the other side as well.
And D. Virgin and Trevor Wright are deep for the Mocs. Playoffs underway. That's Virgin. He'll take a knee, and so this offense and this game will start at the 25-yard line under the direction of the senior quarterback from Chattanooga, Jacob Huseman.
He is really a talented young man. We had a great chance to talk to his father, who's the head coach, of course, of UTC, and they seemed really loose. The coach just kept telling us, Russ said, my son feels loose, the entire football team feels loose, and they're ready for this game. He didn't seem like there was any intimidation. They obviously played them very tight in week 1, 23-20.
And he wasn't trying to set you up either, right?
No, I don't think so. I think he believed it, man.
Just checking. From the 25, Huseman from the gun. C.J. Boards, the receiver to the near side. He's looking for him, and it's incomplete. Jalen Hill, among others, back defending number 11.
And Brandon Bender does a great job. He's not really a linebacker, but plays somewhat of a linebacker-type monster position out there and just got himself in position between the quarterback and the receiver. Had to get the ball over to him, and Huseman just misfired.
David Blackwell is the DC defensive coordinator for Jacksonville State. They're very concerned about what Huseman will do today. They do a lot of window dressing at the line of scrimmage and give you looks you might not be ready for. On 2nd and 10, they'll try to attack that front defensive unit with Derek Crane. Crane just likes to run over people, as they say, whether you're ready or not. And he got a few yards on the play.
He's a tough runner, there's no doubt about it, but if you're going into that center of that defensive line with big Alan Carson right there in the middle at 322 pounds, it's going to be tough, and that offensive line's going to have to make some moves, but they're just going to try to position block. That was something else the quarterback talked about.
7th year for the head coach of the Mocs. A record of 50-32. He got his 50th win last week when the team scored 50 in a win over Fordham to start the playoffs. On a 4-receiver set, trying to set up a little screen, and got blown up at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, just too much pressure. Obviously, when you get yourself into a 3rd and long, everybody knows exactly what kind of play you're looking for, and the standard play is going to be a screen pass, and that's exactly what they were trying to get the ball over to Crane. Huseman actually just happy to be able to see that ball go to the ground, get themselves into a position to use maybe a little bit of the punter's leg to get some field position shifted.
And this punter's got a pretty good leg on Enrique Ribeiro, whose longest this year is 61. Punting to Josh Barg, the outstanding receiver for J-State. He'll take it on the bounce. Trying to get to the edge. And out of bounds near the 45-yard line. He's an electric receiver, and Pete, he's not too bad as a punt returner either.
No, not too bad at all. Does a nice job here of fielding the ball in one quick move and then able to do a couple more, gets some help, gets the blocker. Josh Barge is an outstanding receiver, but he's just as outstanding and returning the ball as well. As a matter of fact, he was recruited very hard by Huseman to come up to Chattanooga, decided not to make that move, and here he is at Jacksonville State.
And on that play, a return of 14 as you look at the numbers of Eli Jenkins. It's the preacher's son versus the coach's son today at quarterback. On 1st down, play action, and Jenkins is swallowed up back at the 40. He ran out of time. That's 93, Keontae Davis. That is his 12th sack of the year.
Is this kid just incredible? Guys, you're going to want to watch this guy all day long. Number 93, Keontae Davis, 6'4", 260 pounds. This guy's going to play on Sundays, but he's got a little time left at UTC.
And he's what this offense has feared the most in preparing for the game. 2nd down, they'll try to run to the edge. Got 3 of those yards back. Miles Jones carrying the ball. Check that. That's Troy Maine Pope, who had 173 on the ground in the win over the Mocs to start the year. Now we bring us to 3rd and 12 behind the chains. What kind of play do you like here?
Well, you'd think it would be some sort of they're going to try to attack the center of the field, in my opinion. So look for one of those receivers to break back off these hash marks and back into the center of the field for Eli Jenkins to make it a little bit easier of a pass.
Still time on the play clock, down to 8. They go with the zone read. Jenkins to keep. And he's not going to get far enough. Got 5 on the play before he's bounced out of bounds. And look at the amped up sidelines of the Mocs. Well, hopefully not a repeat of Texas and Baylor early today when they see sidelines come into each other.
Yeah, we don't want to see any of that. But both these two coaches, they're just too disciplined. I don't think we're going to see that today. But when you watch that defense, great play call, but the defense, outstanding job of just staying horizontal, just going sideline to sideline, pushing him further and further, using that sideline for help. Now it's a 4th, and here we are with another punt.
We saw John Gross, the head coach of Jacksonville State, back-to-back OVC regular season championships.
Wow.
The punt from McInnes lands at the 2 and goes into the end zone. Less than 3 minutes in, we've had an exchange of footballs. Welcome to Jimmy V Week for Cancer Research on ESPN as we continue our commitment to the V Foundation and Jim Valvano's dream to defeat cancer. This is the 2nd round of the NCAA Football Championship, 2nd possession for Jacob Huseman and the Mocs. Both teams 3 and out to start the game. And the running today will be hard sledding, and nonetheless, that's what these two teams do very well, Pete, is run the ball.
Yeah, they absolutely do. Jacob Huseman uses that speed. Now, he's not as nifty. He's not the same exact quarterback as Eli Jenkins, but certainly when you watch him, he does have that speed. Expect to see him more between the guards, not even the tackles, but a play like that where he's between the guards trying to tack that middle section. If they can get those wall blocks, it's going to create a lane. If they can get those lanes, that's what they're looking for. Not this 2 and 3 yards. They're looking for 5 or 6.
You saw the numbers, 241.8 per game. It is unlikely that the Mocs will get that today. But in the first meeting, they had a total yardage under 200. And Jacksonville State, one of the things they do so well is they contain the run and have over the last 20 years. So Huseman's got to leave because the helmet came off. But the good news is they've got a backup guy in the name of Alejandro Benefield who will be the starter the next couple of years.
Yeah, Coach was really excited about this young man. And talk about a guy it just shows you he's not selfish. He decided to come to a school where the quarterback is the coach's son. That says a lot about this young man.
Need to pick up 4. Benefield calls his own number, and he got the first down. He got 6. He was an interesting recruit, too, because when his mom and coach and player assembled together on the cart, the mom, realizing that the coach's son was going to be the starting quarterback here, said, you know, your son's really good. And, of course, Russ Huseman, the head coach, didn't bat an eye. He said, well, so is yours. And that might have been the sealer.
Yeah, and they're looking forward to a couple of years with this young man behind center. You see again, though, called play, give him something simple, and stay within the guards. Interesting to see that he's still out on the field.
Yes, back-to-back plays. From the shotgun, 4 receiver set. He'll call his own number again. Into the open field. Past the second line of defense. And down to the 42-yard line. That's a pickup of 26.
An outstanding job. He started in the center and then was able to break off. Again, trying to use these wall blocks. See, right between the guards is where that play started. And then there was that gap to the outside, finds his way to the outside of the play. I'll tell you what, that was very, very close, but it seemed like that contact did start in field.
Well, right now, Huseman and Benefield are both in the game, and that's not unusual. Let's see who's going to quarterback. It's likely Huseman. And now an empty backfield. Check that one in the backfield in Benefield and a 4 receiver set. First down from the 42. Huseman to keep, and he fooled nobody. Woo! That's a tackle for loss back at the 45.
That's Brandon Bender. We talked about him earlier because 5'9", 180 pounds, but he virtually is playing a linebacker position. Actually, looks like Moss is the first guy to get there, but Bender as well. This defense will collapse. They've got a lot of speed. They've got size in the middle, but they've got speed on the outside. They can really pursue, and they're going to be attacking this offense all day.
We could add 2 tackles to the total already for him, Pete.
Yeah.
As he approaches 200 for an outstanding career. Second and 13. Option. They feel that Jacksonville State is vulnerable to the option, but the problem is they got guys like Darius Jackson who can run from that lineman position.
Yeah, they've got a couple of guys on the outside. I heard Coach, he was talking about they thought they could attack on the outsides. I'm not so sure of that. I look at Landrum on one side and I see Darius Jackson on the other. They both possess great speed, agility, and boy, do they attack. These two guys will get tackles behind the line of scrimmage, both of them in double digits tackles for loss on the season.
Third down. Four-man rush, looking to his right, throwing to the left. Got broken up with the line of scrimmage, it appears. 92. Desmond Owino might have got his hands on it. Owino's quite a story. He didn't play his first high school game until senior year. He's from Nairobi, Kenya.
Yeah, you could see just pushing back that offensive lineman there right in front of him. That's the big center, Jacob Rivas, who's got an interesting story as well. We'll talk about that later, but Owino, great pressure getting in the face of the quarterback.
Owino showed up for his first practice, and because he was overseas, and look at this punt, but unfortunately, I don't know if the Mocs got to it in time. Let's see. As the side judge goes down, and it's going to be ruled a touchback. Chattanooga was in perfect position to down that inside the 5, but it didn't happen. And the fans are booing the contact, but I think you could call that incidental.
Oh, that was incidental. You know, the problem was they were trying to milk that and tried to get to it, and they got there too late.
Cedric Nettles was back trying to locate the ball, but he couldn't do it. J-State gets the football upon our return. Pete, if there's a difference maker in this game, it may lie in those statistics there.
Wow. You know, and not only is it size, but these guys are talented as well up front. 4 of these guys, all conference players. So this is an offense that's got talent everywhere. It's not just the quarterback. It's not just Josh Barge on the outside. It's not Trumaine Pope. It's everywhere.
Jenkins the rollout on first down. He's got a receiver at the sticks. That's Josh Barge, who was honored prior to the game as the OVC Scholar Athlete. And for him, that is his 76th catch of the season. Good for 11.
You can see Jenkins sprinting to the outside, and while sprinting, he's going to the right-hand side, obviously, trying to help him out, but an excellent strike. We were talking about his accuracy. You saw it right there.
Now to Ruben Gonzalez on the near side. He's tripped up in open field. Good tackle by Trevor Wright for a small gain. It's kind of like a rush, I suppose, like a running play when you find your receiver for 3 or 4 yards and not have to use your running backs against that pursuing off defensive line.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're just trying to shift it around because everybody knows how good Pope is, and he's going to get the ball, but they're just trying to keep the defense on their toes.
Right now, 7 up in the box. Jenkins to keep. The winner of this game gets either Charleston Southern or the Citadel. How about this? The Citadel rushes for 524 last week and trails 14-3 late first half today.
Wow, there's some great games. You can see how Eli Jenkins does a great job of reading. He put that ball right into Pope, but pulled it back out. He was able to gain enough yardage to make this a third and very makeable.
Let's see what John Gross dials up here on third down. Serves as the head coach and also offensive coordinator. Oh, quarterback keep into that second line of defense. And it's a first down to the 42-yard line. And a huge pickup and play call of 22.
Well, Jenkins again just does an absolutely outstanding job. He reads it. You can see his eyes. He took a look, and he had that ball in Pope's belly, but he pulled it back out and was able to get just to that left guard position, find himself into open field for a very nice gain. Big plays. That's what this game is going to be about, some of these big plays.
He is the son of a preacher. Mom wanted to name him before birth Denzel. Dad wanted to go with Elijah. They settled on Eli.
Whoa.
Jenkins. Is the ball loose? It is, but it appears that Jacksonville State has recovered. And that goes for a sack and a loss of 4.
And look who it is.
Yeah, who else?
Keonta Davis. He comes from this outside on the right side of the defense and the blind side of the quarterback. And just look how fast he's able to get around. And he's beating a great offensive tackle. 4 of those 5, they're all conference. These guys are outstanding up front.
Back to the zone read and nowhere to go. Miles Jones dropped for a loss back at the 50. And that's 96, Vantrell McMillan. And one thing he can do is he can get to the backfield.
Well, they've got talent on the defensive line. They might not have the size. I mean, we showed that size comparison, and obviously we're talking significantly different, 30-some-odd pounds they're giving away. But with that, they're bringing speed. And right now, it's the speed of Keonta Davis and McMillan that's hurting this offensive line.
Need to get the football, Pete, to the 32. 3rd and 18, scoreless first quarter, and a good matchup in the second round of the FCS playoffs. Back to the original line of scrimmage. It is 4th and 10. What do you do here?
Well, I would think at this point they're just going to try to play some field position, but it looks like they want to keep that offense out on the field. It's too far for a field goal, and now they're starting to shift these guys in. He thought about it, though.
Oh, yeah. That means Hamish McInnes will punt, averaging almost 42 yards a punt. And today, Boom won for 53. That is C.J. Board back at the 10.
But you want to stick with the field position because both teams are playing so well on defense right now, you'd hate to give that up.
High snap, gets the kick away. Board will let it go. And they'll spot it at the 8. It's a defensive battle so far in the 3rd meeting between these two teams in 3 years. 3 months ago to the day in Chattanooga, game tied at 10 at halftime and at 13 after 3. But in the fourth, Troymaine Pope for Jacksonville State bus one for 65. He had 180 on 15 carries. And then later, Miles Jones from 1 yard out won it for the Gamecocks in a thriller 23-20. But they meet again today, Pete, and the stakes are bigger.
They are bigger. I'll tell you, what you could see right from that graphics that you were just showing there, they ran between the guards, and that's where I think they're going to be more effective because of that team speed from Chattanooga.
And right on cue, Crane carries the football and a solid gain on first down of close to 9. Derek Crane stands 5'10 and 205. He's had a 1,000-yard rushing season, as had his quarterback, Jacob Huseman. And why not dial up again? So 2 runs of 15 yards.
Yeah, and the same thing here. It seems to me that both teams are they're feeling themselves out here in the first quarter, but they're finding that there's a little bit more of a gap between those guards. And if they want to go side to side, they're going to have a problem because both teams possess enough speed on the outside. It's going to be very difficult, I think, to get to that outside until they get through the center and then have to break to those gaps on the outside.
And as you know, good running game sets up play action, which is something the Mocs like to do. First and 10, football at the 25, winding down a fast-moving first quarter. And Huseman picking up yet another first down for the Mocs and a pickup of 17. Well, he hasn't got blazing speed, but his dad, his head coach, says he can run a 4.5 40.
Well, he's a straight-ahead type runner. Jenkins, I think, has more lateral ability, but you can see right there, started straight up the field, then breaks to the outside and uses that speed, accelerates to get that first down, now getting close to midfield. It's really going to be about ball position, I think, based upon what we're seeing from these defenses.
Yeah, good point. And if somebody makes a mistake, namely a turnover, that could decide it. Already 71 yards running the football for the Mocs, who were under 100 against Jacksonville State. And over the years, Jacksonville State allows very few teams to run the football for 100 yards. In fact, 62 times they have given up 100 yards or less since 1995. It's a phenomenal number.
Yeah, this defense is outstanding. And if you look at those coordinators, both Blackwell and Hall, when you look at the experience that they bring to this team, Blackwell at Clemson, Hall at Oklahoma, you've got some great resumes sitting on these coaching staffs. And this defense, they play a lot like those type of ball clubs, like that Oklahoma defense.
That's a good point. Here's the option, second time around.
Wow.
Got rid of it the last minute to Crane and got a first down, and that's some. He's still going with a football. Down the sidelines he goes. Derek Crane. And Huseman waited to the very last second to pitch it, which is what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, boy, did he ever. Take a look at this. That play was set up by Huseman. You cannot play the option better than he did right there. And then Crane, using that sideline, was able to cut back just a yard or two back inside to extend that play. We talked about, can you get big plays? That was a big play.
39 yards and stop the game. Somebody's rushed for over 100 as a team against Jacksonville State. They're going to be playing now into the band and student section on the pitch to Bagley. Bagley gives them another dimension in this offense, and right now they're finding that edge to their liking.
Well, Bagley is certainly a much different running back than Crane. When you look at Crane, he ran to the left side. Here they are coming to the offensive right. Bagley gets that pitch and able to use that speed to the outside. He's 5'9", 180 pounds, so we're not talking about nearly the size of Crane, who's 205, but the speed, 5 yards a carry. This guy just brings a different element when he's on the field.
How about this? 0 for 3 passing and 123 on the ground against one of the best in defending the run.
That is something. Really is shocking.
First and goal from the 5. Going with a jet sweep to the end zone. Bourne lost the football. Now it depends on where the spot is. He's right at the pylon, and the officials will confer. They are Big South officials, by the way.
Wow. It was there. Bourne dove for that end line, and he trying to get over it, but did that ball pop out as he was getting right to the end line?
Fumbled forward and out of bounds. It will be brought back to the spot of the fumble. Clock will start on my signal.
That's a referee, Stuart Mullins. That's a big call for Chattanooga.
Wow.
Had he fumbled that out of the end zone, it would have been a touchback, and possession would have been over.
It's really tough. Obviously, with the camera angle there, you can't tell, did he cross over and did he actually already get the touchdown? But
we're going to go up to Joe Ryder in instant replay. We chatted with Joe prior to the game, and he was amped up about this game just as much as anybody.
He was. I had a chance to talk to him further, and the interesting thing is this is exactly what we were talking about. Hey, do you think there's a chance that we're going to be able to have a camera right on the end zone line? Well, we were close, but he's inside the end zone, so you just can't get it from that angle or the angle in the end zone to tell, was he over the end line or not?
Probably our best angle is right here. And this is exactly what replay sees that you are seeing wherever you're watching today.
But Fuller Johnson, just a great job of popping that ball out as well. Outstanding. And that's what good defenses do. You talk about Pete Carroll and a lot of these great defensive coordinators over the years. They find a way to create turnovers. And if they can get those turnovers, it becomes a game changer. And right there, punching that ball out, this is a huge decision by the referees at this point.
It is.
You can see Russ Huesman over there talking to one of the...
It's line judge Brian Sikowski.
Yeah.
Not trying to butter him up,
no,
is he?
I don't think so, do you?
Yeah, coaches never do that. How you doing? How's the family? Everything good? All right, the ball gets punched out right here. And the big question now is, where exactly was the ball and the ball carrier? More importantly, the ball.
Right, yeah. And they're up there talking with Joe right now. I think he's having just as difficult a time trying to figure this thing out as the guys down on the field are, which probably will mean that ball's going to be spotted exactly where it is, on about 6 inches short of the end line.
By the way, that line judge, Brian Sikowski, is teammates today with Steve Klein, the linesman, the umpire, Mike Morton. Wayne Rundell is the side judge, Mike Saffert the field judge, Hans Wittelsberger is the back judge.
The ruling on the field stands. It'll be 2nd and goal. The clock will start on my signal.
So you are correct, sir. Inside the 1 yard line, 2nd and goal.
It looks like the right call. That last look we had there, Fuller Johnson just does an outstanding job, but he did it so effective and so fast that it looks like that ball did pop out before he hit the end zone line.
This is a 79-yard drive all on the ground for Chattanooga.
Gosh, isn't that something? Wow.
And they're going to get 3 cracks because I imagine if they're stopped twice, they'll still go for it. 2nd and goal into the student section. Snap to Huesman. He'll keep it. Trying to get to the end zone. Did he make it?
I think he did.
Touchdown. Yeah.
He made it, but not by much. I'll tell you, they brought in a couple of the big fellas in there like everybody does now, and they were stopped right at the line there, and Huesman looks like he just maybe barely gets over the end zone line.
There was an offsides on the play, looked like from the right side of the Jacksonville state line. So that obviously is refused, and it is 6-0 Moccasins. So the Mocs on the board, and Huesman out there to hold now for his place kicker, Enrique Ribeiro.
But you can see just how close this really is, because he gets hit just enough to get over the end zone line there. McCandless, I think, is the man who hit him there, the big linebacker.
Yep. And for Ribeiro, 77 PATs in a row. So the Mocs strike first on an 80-yard rushing drive against Jacksonville State. And the 7 busloads of fans and band already have got something to cheer about, and Huesman going over and patting the head of his left guard, Corey Levin, who moved, by the way, from a tackle position to left guard, and today St. John Heron getting a chance to play. That's important at that right guard spot.
Yeah, big couple of guys, both of them out of Georgia, and just doing an outstanding job. And that entire drive, that really came from a couple of great decisions from Huesman running out of that quarterback. We talk about the dual threat. So far, it's just been a running threat. It hasn't been dual at all. We haven't seen that ball in the air, but he's done an outstanding job finding his way through the center. And actually the big play, though, came when they finally did attack the outside, and he just waited to the very last moment to get the ball to Crane. Reggie Hall, number 6, and 36, Lawan
DeBartoleben is deep for Jacksonville State. This is the most unusual spot for the Gamecocks.
Yeah.
Trailing 7-0 and at their home field.
#1 team in the country.
Yes, sir. Only lost to Auburn in overtime back in September. It's going to be returnable by Hall.
Oh boy.
Running to the near side of the field, now trying to cut up. Still going with a football and a return to midfield. Big play by Reggie Hall after the defense allowed 7.
You might have heard me say, oh boy, and the reason I did was they were trying to kick that ball into the left corner, which is exactly what they did, but there was no air under that ball at all, so no hang time means you're going to be able to get that ball and start bringing it upfield. Well, he brought it upfield. Everybody was pursuing to the left side, but because the ball wasn't up in the air high enough, there was nobody down there yet. He was able to take it to the left-hand side of the field, gets all the way to almost the 50-yard line.
Yes, got a return of 43. Great field position for the Gamecocks. Jenkins to keep.
Oh boy.
Got a man to get past down the sidelines and out of bounds. And they'll spot him at the 12-yard line. That's a pickup of 39.
Another great read by Eli Jenkins this time, goes right up the center. We talked about they can't get to the outsides because there's just too much speed for the UTC defense to be able to get to the outsides, but once he gets through the center, then he can break to the outside. Plenty of room there. Great play by Jenkins.
Final play of the first quarter, and it's a big one to the 5. Pope nearly struck the end zone, so after a great defensive struggle to start, the offenses are getting on board.
I'll tell you, the balance shown that time by Tremaine Pope was just absolutely outstanding. He comes through the field, he gets popped, but he's able to hold on to his balance, spin, and get himself a little bit further downfield down to the 5.
Here's the fun part, Pete. When we start the second quarter, J-State's going right into its own end zone with the fans. Big moment in the game for the Gamecocks. First and goal from the 5 as we start the second quarter. Their team down 7-0. Quarterback is Eli Jenkins, who's already had an effective first half on the ground. 7 carries for 61. Tremaine Pope is the running back. Quarterback keeps straight ahead. Touchdown! What a way to answer an 80-yard rushing drive by Chattanooga with a running drive of your own.
And they stuck to exactly what has been working. Stand between the guards. You got all the big fellas up front, Dunn and Wright and Burks, and they just made a great push. And Jenkins that time, I think he made that decision. I don't know if that was a read or not. I think that time he thought to himself, I'm holding on to this football and I'm going to pound this thing through. And he's not a huge guy. He's only 205 pounds, but he used all that 205 pounds of the leg drive to get into the end zone.
Connor Rouleau now, Pete, for the extra point. We might as well just throw our passing statistics out the window because I don't think they're going to matter today.
Yeah, we talked about this dual threat, and neither one of these guys is getting the ball in the air too much, but it's exciting to see, and it's some good coaching as well. Go with what is working and try to find. You can see right here, look at, there's a big seam there, and you can see Jenkins just lowers his shoulder, and then he gets a little help from the big fellas that come up and start pushing him, and they got him into the end zone.
And the big fellas are center Casey Dunn. The guards and Adam Wright and Blake Burks, and on the outside the tackles Justin Lee and Dylan Klein. Eli Jenkins with that rushing touchdown. That is his 9th of the season.
Well, you look at the productivity of what he's been able to accomplish, and just keep something in mind. This is a guy, and the coaches brought this up, but this is a guy who, because of some of the lopsided scores, he probably missed about 8 or 9 quarters worth of football this year. So just imagine what his statistics really could be had he been able to play the entire game in each and every week.
Yeah, solid point. Rouleau set the kickoff. Virgin and Wright are back for Chattanooga. 7-7 game. Moments into the second quarter. Not just 6 seconds into. this return from the 10. And this possession will start near the Chattanooga 30. So divergent off the return of 20. Well, Jacksonville State's rushing defense was torched on that previous drive. In fact, Gamecocks have given up 129 today, averaging just an allowance of 92.
Yeah, it really is amazing, but what you can credit that to is the coaching and Huseman on the UTC side just doing an outstanding job of not being stubborn, but just taking what's working. And what's working right now is his son doing an outstanding job like he has for so many years up there, doing an outstanding job of reading that center, and whether it's going to Crane or he's keeping it, they're doing a nice job of finding those seams, and that's what they were looking for, is those gaps and those seams inside.
Speaking of Cranes, straight ahead for a couple. We mentioned the coach's son, and I asked Dad, Russ Huseman, a late flag coming in. What he calls his dad during the course of practice, does he call him Dad or does he call him Coach? He says, well, he calls me Dad mostly.
After the play was over, unsportsmanlike conduct, number 31 defense, 15-yard penalty, first down.
That's on Devarius Miller, the backup strong safety. That will not sit well with coordinator David Blackwell or the head coach John Gross. And the football now moved up to the 48.
Well, when you're struggling on defense to stop the run, and that's obviously what's going on here, because so far Huseman's been 0 for 3 with 0 yards, so they're not throwing the ball, but they're running the ball, and they're effectively running the football, obviously 129 yards in that first quarter. You can't give them a penalty like that and push the ball to the 50-yard line.
He'll go with a 4-receiver set. Back to Crane, and to finish the story on Huseman, who typically refers to his dad as Dad on the field. I said, well, what would happen if he called you Coach? He said, well, that would be kind of weird. Might be hard to get used to.
I'll tell you.
3-time SoCon Coach of the Year, by the way.
It's not easy. You know, when I was at the University of Minnesota, our head coach when I first got there was a guy named Joe Salem, and his son was our quarterback. But when things aren't going well, they're fine when they're doing great. But if they start to slip at all, then everybody starts jumping on you. Are you giving preferential treatment because it's your son? Hasn't had to worry about that at Chattanooga, though. This guy's had an incredible career.
Now Crane becomes a wide receiver. Huseman with the empty backfield, time to throw. Little seam ball past the 50 to C.J. Board. He'll spot it at the 48.
So we got a ball in the air. He completed a pass. There we go. The dual threat is on.
Just to back up those terrific words at the beginning of our broadcast.
Yeah. Well, these guys both can throw the football, and we talked about accuracy, but you know, you do go with what's working, and they've been running the ball so effectively. That's what they've stuck with, and that will open up the passing game. Obviously, if that defense is starting to get pushed back onto their heels, it's going to give an opportunity for Huseman to have a little bit more time back there and find C.J. Board. Maybe find some of these other receivers. Stovall, he's got some good size from these receivers.
Timeout call by the Mocs, their first of the first half. Significant 3rd and 6 coming up. Right now, let's step aside. NCAA FCS Championship second round, 7-7 time. Next week, catch the winner of this game in the quarterfinals on ESPN3. For more information, go to NCAA.com, the official online home for all 89 NCAA championships. By the way, that Citadel score, 14-3. 5 minutes in the third quarter. Charleston Southern ahead. Mike Holloway, 2 rushing touchdowns for Charleston Southern. It is 3rd and 6 and an empty backfield for quarterback Huseman. One little option to the opposite side.
It did not seem like they had enough going on that play to cause any confusion. And Dawson Wells, the inside linebacker, looking a great job of just getting in position. Yes, he did miss the tackle, but he slowed it down and gave an opportunity for the rest of the defense to come around. And Darius Jackson with the tackle. Great job on the pursuit. We talked about on the outsides, it's about speed. Can you beat them with speed? They went away from what's been working, running between the guards, between the tackles.
Third punt of the afternoon for Enrique Ribeiro. Can the Mocs cover it? Barge catches before that question is answered at the 10-yard line. Josh Barge is their top receiver. even though they have not needed his services yet, number 12 will probably be called into play as this game starts to open up a little bit on offense.
Yeah, I'd expect to see him getting targeted quite a bit, and Ruben Gonzalez, the other receiver. Ruben Gonzalez on the outside is a transfer from USF, and I'll tell you what, 6'3" and 211 pounds on one side, and Josh Barr is 6'1", 180. They both have enough height that's a good target for a quarterback when you're looking downfield. Eli Jenkins has been looking to both those two players all year long, but Josh Barr, 75 catches coming into today.
On first down, though, back to the ground game, which both Jacksonville State and Chattanooga have found to their liking. Jermaine Pope, head coach, says he's the fastest guy on our team, and he has 9 100-yard games to back that up.
Well, and we've seen how explosive he can be. Obviously, going back to that play we watched earlier from week 1 where he just got through the center of the UTC line and just took off. Now, the interesting part was he did get caught. He didn't get all the way to the end zone, but he's got great speed.
That defense there being able to stand up the running back. As Toivian Brand met the quarterback, Eli Jenkins, and made sure he didn't go very far.
Nice job of pursuit that time. They tried to come back to the inside, but you could see big Isaiah Mack coming in there at 6'2", 280 pounds, closing in along with Toivian Brand. They close that inside fast.
Yeah, actually, Mack got to him first, number 89. From Tunnel Hill, Georgia. Jenkins trying to pick up a first down. With man coverage, has got a receiver. At the 47-yard line, that's Gonzalez. Chattanooga sidelines was saying no catch. The officials say yes, indeed.
Well, I'll tell you, we talked about these wide receivers on the outside. Ruben Gonzalez, all 6'3" of him on the outside. He's got some long legs and he's got some great speed. As a matter of fact, if Eli Jenkins can just get this ball out there another 5 or 10 yards, he had to slow up and wait for the ball and come back to make that catch, but that was a catch.
Good for 39. Back to Jenkins, calling his own number, and on first down, he gets close to 9 yards. Well, you mentioned Gonzalez, 32nd catch of the year. We touched upon Barge, who has 75 for the season, and now you add in Jenkins in this running game, and you can see why they're one in the country.
Yeah, it's an exciting offense to watch, and they look like they're starting to pick up that pace a bit as well.
Pope has got the first down inside the 35.
Well, when you've got Jenkins playing quarterback, Jermaine Pope as your running back with the speed and the agility that he's got, and then you look to the outside, you see Barge and Gonzalez. This really is, when you look for a complete offense, and then you've got 4 of the 5 are all conference performers up front, boy, there's not too many holes on this offense.
No, and in fact, we're looking at the Jacksonville State offense. That's obvious, but the defense, Russ Huseman says about that front line, that's an FBS defensive front.
Yeah, they are.
First and 10, Jenkins rolling to his right. Shooting for 6, down to Barge. Intercepted. Penalty flag on the play, however, and we'll see if there may be pass interference. So the pick is recorded by Kendall, number 16. The question is, does it hold?
It seemed as if the defender did get there a little bit early, but
pass interference, number 16 defense, 15-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
So take away Samaji Kendall's 3rd interception and mark off 15 yards, and that's a big call in this game. What do you think, Pete?
Well, it was interference. And again, the interesting part about this is, as he's trying to target Josh Barge downfield, kind of underthrew it again from Jenkins, kind of had that ball hanging up in the air, and I think that's what actually caused that interference to happen. I think the defender actually expected to be a little bit further downfield as well.
By the way, we showed you the brackets. The winner of this game will either play Friday night or Saturday afternoon. Could be a quick turnaround that both teams would certainly welcome. Jenkins play action. Got a receiver at the 5-yard line who falls down. No penalty flag. Jenkins lobbying for one.
Those quarterbacks, they always want something, don't they?
As they usually will lobby.
Boy, look at that, though. He's got not only just an incredible pocket back there, but the defenders that time, just nobody even close to him. And we've talked about Keonta Davis, who started off great with those first 2 sacks, but since then, they haven't been able to get that pressure onto the quarterback.
A pass play intended for Dalton Screws, by the way. And back to Troymaine Pope, who had 173 on the ground and a touchdown in that win back on September 5th, 90 days ago.
Look at those numbers, though. This is a tough running guy. He's got speed. He's got enough size. He's got enough speed. This is a guy who could definitely be at the next level if he chooses to go that direction.
This is 3rd and 4 in the red zone. Jenkins, nice. First down to the 5. Boy, that's such a dimension to this offense that the Mocs are going to have to try to find a handle on.
Just an outstanding read. And if you take a look at Eli Jenkins, he held that ball in the belly of Pope for as long as humanly possible and last minute pulled it out, and that's what gave him enough room because the defense finally got stretched far enough that nobody was there to be able to make that play. Jenkins gets all the way to the 5-yard line.
After the pickup of 8, now looking for a touchdown. Down to the goal line. Touchdown!
Right in front of that student section, those guys are going absolutely crazy down there, and they're loving it. But we talked about the speed of this. It seemed like the rhythm really picked up, and each play it seemed like a little bit faster, a little bit faster. That time almost caught the defense off guard. You can see Pope there definitely got into the end zone. Nice job of driving those legs.
Flying right over his right guard, Blake Burks, like a sandwich.
When you got a guard who's 6'1", 320 in front of you, you might as well just put your hand on his back and follow him in.
Sure. From a pretty big hotbed of high school football in Hoover, Alabama. 24 rushing touchdowns for Pope. More importantly, Jacksonville State has taken its first lead. Mr. Pope with a touchdown moments ago to cap a 90-yard drive accomplished in 9 plays. Took 4 minutes and 12 seconds. So 2 drives now for Jacksonville State here in the second quarter, 51 and 90. And the road to Frisco, well, it's looking promising at this point with a 14-7 lead, but a lot of football to be played.
Oh, we got a lot of football left, and obviously Chattanooga's going to have to come back, and I think you've got to make an answer. You've got to answer after that score. And things were going very, very well for the UTC offense, and suddenly we get a little bit of a slowdown, and Jacksonville's starting to pick up that pace, and now suddenly we've got ourselves into a 14-7 ball game. But like you said, there's plenty of time left. We got almost 8 minutes left in the second quarter.
Final score, Pete, in the Spiders of Richmond were terrific today against William and Mary, winning 48-13. So we already have a quarterfinalist established for the FCS playoffs either Friday or Saturday.
Those Spiders, they're a great football team and really well coached. So they're going to be tough for whoever's lined up across from them next week.
Again, a short kick, again a return for the 10-yard line. Last time D. Virgin got it to the 29, this return up to the 34 for 24 yards, and that's where the Mocs will start. So offensively, might we anticipate some changes in the way they approach this drive?
Well, I think what they've got to do is just stick to what's been working. When they've gotten away from that, when they've tried to get more to the outside. Now, granted, their best play of the day really did come on a great play by Huseman, getting to the outside on that pitch and getting that long run for Crane, but they've really been moving up and down the field by staying within who they've been all year and who they are today, which is stay between the guards, try to attack, try to find some seams. It's okay if you only get 2, because if you can break one here and there, you're going to be able to move those chains downfield.
On first down, pass to Bagley. Goes out of bounds at the 38 for a pickup of 4. It's top of the hour, the Eastern time zone, and everywhere else in the country. Her in the Central time zone here. It's 2 o'clock Jacksonville State, Alabama time. Good to have you with us. Pete Najarian, starred at the University of Minnesota and Jim Barber here on ESPN3. And by the way, you're one of the candidates for the Gophers AD job, so good luck, my friend.
That should be interesting. Should be a lot of fun.
I knew you were taking note of all the great Southern hospitality today, just in case you get that position.
These guys know how to do it, and they do it right. There's no doubt about it down here. Congrats to everybody.
On first down, Huseman gets swallowed up. Probably won't go for a sack, depending on where they spot, although if he lost a yard, it will be a sack.
Well, it was a really short. Take a look at Huseman here. There really isn't much of a, he's standing right there and virtually does not move, doesn't step back, and because of that, the defender's able to beat the tight end to the inside, able to push himself in front. Now you find yourself in a 3rd and long. They got away from what's working. They've got to stick with what's working on the offensive side. Now it really does rest on the arm now of Jacob Huseman.
We saw Monty Young, 49, make the tackle of the quarterback. Option near side. It's part of the game plan to Bagley. They think they can find a seam there, but Bagley is short by a couple of yards.
Yeah, he's going to be about 2 yards short. That time, he doesn't have as much size. We talked about the difference between he and Derek Crane. Crane's about 205 pounds. When you look at Bagley, he's 180.
Well, is this a late hit?
Oh, that sure does look like it.
Yes,
should be a 15-yarder.
Oh, Johnson. But no call, so Josh Barge is back to receive the punt from Rivero. 14-7 in favor of Jacksonville State. Chattanooga put together an 80-yard scoring drive, did not throw a pass, and put the Mocs ahead 7-0. Since then, J-State has scored twice. Little rugby-style kick. Barge into the sun with a catch. So 5:46 remaining in the first half, and the momentum in this game has really swung to Jacksonville State, the #1 team in the country.
Yeah, I think UTC on offense just really has to decide exactly how they need to attack this defense, because the Jacksonville defense right now is starting to figure things out, and they're doing a better job of attacking and bringing the play from the edges. We talked at the beginning of the show. If they can hold down those edges, and so far the Jacksonville defense has done a nice job now in the second quarter. First quarter they couldn't stop them. Second quarter they have.
After that 39-yard punt, Jones carries the football. He is the other running back to this 2 running back attack headed by Pope. Miles Jones, a senior from Ackworth, Georgia.
That's great to see him getting his opportunity as well. He's an outstanding back. When you go back and look what this kid accomplished in high school, Miles Jones, 5,400 yards and 64 touchdowns in high school. Not so bad.
Jenkins flushed out, shooting to the sidelines. Would have been a tough catch in midfield. Intended for Barge. And it'll bring us to a 3rd and 6. Defended well by C.J. Fritz, who got a chance to start today in place of Divergent at one of the boundary corners.
Well, they gave Jenkins a chance that time. He's rolling to his right-hand side. I never like to see offenses when they force the quarterback to roll to the opposite side, but at least there was an opportunity there. No interception. That's been key, and that's been something that was really focused on this year. Only 5 interceptions in 2015 for Eli Jenkins.
Gamecocks are 3 out of 5 on 3rd down, make it 4 out of 6, and a bullet to the 45-yard line.
Dalton Screws that time down, right, literally just a fly pannered right down the hash marks here. Eli Jenkins probably shocked, takes a look and immediately rockets that ball to him downfield, right on the hash marks. Excellent job that time by Eli Jenkins as well.
Catch at 23 for a high school valedictorian, Dalton Screws, who was on a mission trip during the past summer to Africa with teammate Spencer Gaffigan.
You talk about some of the academics and both sides of the field today. You just got great representation of what you really want to see in these programs, because you mentioned Gaffigan. He's already got his degree. He's working on his master's, and Screws works just as hard in the classroom as well. It's something that I think you really just got to applaud that.
Jenkins to Barge. Out of bounds to the 40-yard line, and another first down for Jacksonville State. And the Gamecocks are feeling it right now.
They are, and you can see that, we talked about rhythm. They're finding that rhythm. They're picking up that pace a bit, and they're trying to speed up these drives. And Jenkins right now having a lot of success throwing the football. Barge with a couple, and Gonzalez and Screws.
Spot at the 42-yard line. Jenkins the keep, and he may have picked up a yard on the play. Cedric Nettles from his strong safety spot, helping to make the tackle on the preacher's son.
Well, earlier in the game, the first quarter, maybe the first quarter in the first minute or so, but Keontae Davis's name, we haven't said that since earlier when he was just all over the quarterback and he was making plays on running plays. He's got the 2 sacks, so he's been very aggressive, but they're starting to double team big number 93, and that's helped out a lot.
And it looks as if the Gamecocks,
Jacksonville State, they're first of the half.
Will use a timeout and will take it with them. You think this would be an important defensive sequence for Chattanooga, because with time running out in the first half, Jacksonville State will also get the ball to start the second half, leading 14-7 on a 2nd and 9. Complete the Barge, who stretches out, trying to push the football past the marker. Make that Ruben Gonzalez on the reception. Good for 8 and very close to 9.
Well, and the quarterback has a great window like he did right there and has perfect vision to be able to see Gonzalez on the outside, and just a nice rhythm timing pass. Just makes it a little bit too easy. A little of that pitch and catch to the outside. Gonzalez uses his body to shield the defender and make that catch and get themselves into a very makeable 3rd and 1.
He's on the outside to the left of the quarterback. To this side is Barge. They'll run the football, trying to pick up the first down. It'll depend on the spot.
I don't know that he got it. I think he's still about a yard short.
That would leave John Graz, the head coach and offensive coordinator, with the decision on 4th and 1. And you're right, he is short.
Well, the offensive line just did not get enough of a push, and you can see right there that it was stacked up, but they're going to go for it here. 4th and 1. Why not? You're on about the 32, 33-yard line.
75%, 4th best in the FCS. They're throwing for it. And a catch and run after the catch. What a play by Ruben Gonzalez.
Boy, he's athletic. Big kid. We talked about the size at 6'3", 210 pounds, but Jenkins just guns this ball to the outside. He does a nice hurdle move right there and gets himself downfield. And why not go for it there, though? The risk is, it's a really limited risk, quite frankly, at the 33-yard line. You don't make it, okay, not so bad. If you do make it like they did right there, here you are in a great inside the 20 position.
Little fade route intended for Barge. He's being held.
Yeah.
And incomplete.
He got away with that one, didn't he?
Yeah, I think the defender did. Well, let's see on replay. Not entirely in your picture. That's C.J. Fritz back defending. How about here?
Well, I think the right arm, from the angle we have up here in the booth, though, we could see it, and it sure looked like he had that arm just draped on him, kind of even slowing him down, pulling him back.
Instead, 2nd and 10. In the red zone are the Gamecocks, looking to make it a 2-score lead. That's Dalton Screws. Makes a man miss, knocked out of bounds around the 10-yard line. By the way, moments ago on that hop by Gonzalez, how about nomination for Sports Center on that? That was a high hurdle with the best of them.
That was a good-looking play right there. I was an old hurdler, but I don't think I'd hurdled as good as that was. That was nice.
Pickup of 8, 3rd and 2. .90 seconds remaining, first half. Jenkins cutting upfield, and he's going to get the first down. He may get more. Jenkins in the end zone, touchdown.
And that play is exactly the difference between the two quarterbacks. That play was really done with all athleticism. When you watch that jump move that he makes when he comes down, take a look at this jump move right there. stops, plants, and gone. And once he does that, the pursuit of the defense all moves to the left side of the field. He cuts back, and there's nobody left, and he's able to get himself positioned to be able to get into the end zone. Outstanding athleticism. Great job by Eli Jenkins. Great vision.
Second rushing touchdown of the game for the quarterback out of Birmingham, Alabama. Rulo for the extra point. And after the Gamecocks got down 7-0, they have put together 3 scoring drives here in the second quarter.
You know, when you watch Jenkins, just this stop move right there, and then that second one. So he had the first and the second, and then he just manages to find himself to the outside of the field. There's nobody left to make the tackle. And by the time he gets over there, Lucas Webb gives a shot at him, gets an arm on him, but that's not enough to get Jenkins down on the ground. And great job. That's why this guy, a couple of years ago, he's a freshman All-American. I mean, when you look at what his look at those stats. Wow.
3 touchdowns, 214 yards. Almost seems like the touchdown, Pete, of Chattanooga woke him up a little bit.
Yeah, got him angry. Woke up the giant, right? Number 1 in the land.
And there's your leader, Eli Jenkins. Comes from a tough part of town in Birmingham. Did not go back during the break because of the area there, which is difficult to be a part of. And they love this kid here. Said he's a great person. And he decided to stick around with his football family, as opposed to going back. And he already has 2 touchdowns and over 200 total yards. This one is headed out of bounds, so for the Mocs, they'll get a good field spot to start this drive from the 35-yard line. Timeout situation, they've got 2 remaining, and it should be paramount for them to mount a scoring drive here to end this first half.
Just to change some of that momentum around. I mean, even if it's only 3 points, you've got to
Free
get
kick
some
out of
points on the
bounds.
board.
Kicking team, by rule, the ball will be placed at the 35-yard line. First down.
What you like about Eli Jenkins as well, and you could see it there when we had that previous highlight, he walked up to each individual offensive lineman, pats him on the shoulders, lets him know how much he appreciates all of what they are doing for him. He knows it's a team game. It's not just about Eli Jenkins. It's all of them. And that offensive line up front, they're talented, and they did a great job on that drive.
Good way to make friends on offense.
It sure is. Sure. As a linebacker, I got to tell you, your best friend is your D lineman. They keep him off of you. Well, his offensive line's keeping him off of him right now.
Yeah. $1:23 remaining first half. Mocs in a hole, down 14. Huseman has completed just a couple of passes so far. Shooting one over the middle.
That's a catch.
And the ball caught at the 45-yard line. A terrific catch by 85, James Stovall, who had 2 touchdowns last week, including a 38-yard reception.
And that was a situation where Huseman just decided, I'm going to put that ball up in the air and just see, can you come down with it? Another guy, similar to Barge, 6'3", about 205 pounds. There you go.
And against the run blitz, Huseman picks it up, headed to the end zone. Can he get there? Touchdown!
Now that's an answer.
And a quick one at that.
Yeah, when you're looking for an answer, that's an answer, and that's exactly what you've got to do. But look at where he's going. That looks to me like it's right where the center was. He's going right down the middle of the field, then moves off to the right-hand side. We talked about it. Is he as nifty as Eli Jenkins? Absolutely not. But he might have more speed, and you could see it right there. He turned that 4.5 speed on. He was gone. That's a big play touchdown.
105 career touchdowns for Jacob Huseman. Rivera with the extra point. What an answer in 30 seconds or less. 21-14 with 53 seconds to go in the first half. You have to remind yourself that first quarter was, well, pretty much scoreless.
Yeah, but look at how big that hole was. And give a credit to that offensive line. Some misdirection up front. Great block up front by number 62, Corey Levin. Those guys up front are doing an outstanding job in the center. It's Rivas, it's Heron, it's Levin doing a great job. And we're talking about size of the opposing offensive line. Those 3 guys at UTC are all around 305 pounds, so they've got some size as well. They created a nice big hole. Huseman found it. He found his way into the end zone.
What do you think that head coach Russ Huseman and Jeff Durden of Chattanooga have been able to find, as you look at the quarterback comparison, in the ability to run the football today for a total of 179 that they couldn't do the first time around.
I think they must have just tried to be a little bit too tricky. He also talked about, hey, that was week 1. We get better throughout the season. Clearly they have gelled as an offensive line. They've been able to put themselves in a position. It's all about how the game itself each and every day is going, and right now they're finding it between the guards.
Line drive kick, and wisely Lawan de Bartoleben will put a knee down, and so the football goes to the 25 with 53 seconds to go in the first half. We know that the Gamecocks get the ball to start the second half. Do you risk moving the ball here?
I would say with 53 seconds on the board, they might actually decide, let's just see what happens. First of all, you're going to start on first down, and let's see where we get the ball on first down. If we can get that ball 8-10 yards down the field, then we're going to start moving the ball. If we get stopped, then maybe we're just going to sit on it down here. But I knowing the way this offense likes to move, 53 seconds is plenty of time to move the ball downfield. They want to get momentum back. They don't want to leave this field with the taste of that touchdown still in their mouth.
We've got a 4-receiver set. Barge, the outside receiver. It's a zone read for the quarterback, Jenkins, who piles his away to the 36 for a pickup 11 and a first down. And again, 2 timeouts in the bank as the clock continues to move.
And they're going to move quick. They're definitely going for it. They don't, like we talked about, they don't like the taste in their mouth. They want to get some points on the board.
Cooper Rulo, their place kicker, has boom one from 48. Jenkins is swallowed up after a gain of 2. They're not using a timeout here. Are you surprised at all?
Well, no, because of that play right there. They didn't get anything right there. And now I'd expect them just to use up this clock with 20-some-odd seconds left. Now this is no longer about getting points on the board because of that play.
Down to 10. Jenkins to the sidelines. Incomplete. With 7 to go.
Yeah, I think what happened there was they wanted to move the ball downfield. They wanted to get more points on the board, but because of that single play, because of the fact that they got 1 yard on that play, there's just not enough time on the clock to be able to move downfield enough at that point in time. Why risk it? So now you just run the football.
And this will end the first half. And what an entertaining first half it's been. And the matchup against an at-large qualifier and the #1 team in the country. #1 leads 21-14. And well, the Mocs are using a timeout here.
30-second timeout.
What's interesting, though, game clock shows
Please
1
reset
second.
the clock to 2 seconds.
Now
2
2
seconds on the game clock. The clock will start on the snap.
Well, let's see now in the Michigan State game, we saw a block punt return for a touchdown that ended the game.
I don't even punt it. I'll take that ball and take that knee and use up that 2 seconds, man. I'm not putting myself into a position for any kind of a punt.
That's probably not a bad idea. Because you know the Mocs are going to go for the block.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
In fact, they've got nobody back right now. And we also do not see
he's going to back up and just take a knee.
Hunter McInnes.
It's not a bad decision by Coach Russ Huseman. Just wants to just see, hey, look, what if something does happen? So
sure.
Any kind of mishap with the snap, then it's a great call. Otherwise, they're headed to the locker room.
There you go. And that's it. One of the largest crowds of the season in Jacksonville, Alabama. We have not been disappointed. Eli Jenkins starring for Jacksonville State. And Jacob Huseman for Chattanooga. The 500 Marching Southerners, Jacksonville State's band on the field. Before we went to break, we had a chance to talk with Jacksonville State's head coach, John Gross. John, after your team fell behind 7-0, you had 3 scoring drives of 216 yards. What changed for you?
I think we got it going. You know, we kind of sputtered right there early and didn't make some plays, and they made some plays, and we started making, playing a little bit better.
Hey, coaches, how about that last play? I know the defense was out on the field for a long time, but That was an explosive play by Huseman there to put themselves back into position down 21-14.
It really was. Big play for them. We were up 2 scores, felt really good where we were, and just gave up too many explosive plays right there at the end. And take my hat off them. They made the plays.
Thank you, John.
Hey, thank you.
And a heartwarming story when we come back as we'll reintroduce the Jimmy V Foundation to you in the FCS Championship second round. It's Jacksonville State 21 and Chattanooga 14 at the break. It's Jimmy V Week for cancer research as we continue our commitment to Jim Valvano's dream to defeat cancer. You never know where cancer is going to strike, and it seems cruelest when it strikes the youngest of us. The last 14 months of Chad Carr's all too brief life strengthened the Michigan man's family, united a community, and reminded a football team and its coach about the power of courage.
On November 14th, just outside Ann Arbor, Michigan, Christmas came early for 5-year-old Chad Carr. It had to.
Okay, what are we doing?
Opening present.
What's today? What is today?
Christmas.
Chad's been very excited about Christmas. And he had a great day. He loved it. Time is a very strange thing for us right now, because it feels like it creeps, but at the same time it feels like it flies by. And I don't even think anybody who has not been in our shoes can really understand that.
Chad Carr was born a Michigan man on September 25, 2010. Not that he had a choice. His dad Jason was a Michigan quarterback and met Tammy there. His grandfather, Tom Curtis, was an All-American there.
Number 25, Tom Curtis, who leads in Big Ten.
And his other grandfather, Lloyd Carr, won a national championship there.
You come out of the womb singing the fight song in this house. Chad's a little different, stubborn and tough for sure.
He's been that kid that I'm gonna wear green. I like Michigan State. But he does that to tease his brothers, to tease me.
Chad, the youngest of the Carr family, was like any other little boy growing up. And then in September 2014, he suddenly wasn't.
He had fallen and broken his nose. And as we walked out of the ER, he tripped and fell. And I just started thinking about how many times he had fallen recently.
The Carrs took Chad back to the hospital for tests. Those tests revealed he had an aggressive form of pediatric brain cancer called DIPG, diffuse intrinsic pontine glioma. Only about 300 children per year worldwide are diagnosed with this inoperable cancer.
You think cancer and you think, okay, what do we need to do to fight this? What's the treatment? What's the protocol? And when they say there isn't any for this disease, that takes the wind out of you. And I remember I just fell on the floor. I sat on the floor in the hospital for a long time.
Doctors told the Carrs that Chad had about 9 months to live. As Chad's diagnosis became public, Michigan men everywhere asked how they could help.
Coach Harbaugh called us. He said, hey, why don't you bring the kids over? And he played with them for an hour and a half, and it was, it was amazing.
He has Tom Curtis blood coursing through his veins. He's got Lloyd Carr, Jason Carr, Tammy Carr, blood coursing through his veins. Then you experience love for the little boy and his family.
The power of love wasn't confined to Ann Arbor. Rivalries didn't matter. A hashtag became an anthem.
I am Chad Tough.
And a little boy became an inspiration.
Joining the game captains for the coin toss is Chad Carr. Our thoughts and prayers are with the Carr family.
But as time passed, Chad's condition slowly worsened.
The amazing thing to me is he has never said, not one time, Dad, why can't I walk? When is my arm gonna work again? He showed us how to get through this.
By the time Michigan played Indiana on November 14th, Chad was in hospice care and in the thoughts of those Michigan players.
Our guys were moved, not just to dedicate the game to him or write Chad Tough on their helmets, but they're praying, and they're praying hard.
You saw towards the end of the game, Michigan football wasn't alone. Chad was right there with us.
Rudock with a pump fake, stop and go, and it is a pitch and catch for a touchdown. Michigan survives.
On November 21st, as the snow fell softly outside, and those Michigan men played at Penn State, a family stood tender watch. 2 days later, and 15 months after his cancer diagnosis, Chad Carr could fight no more. But the impact of the little Michigan man lives on.
We have this reach. This kid has this reach. And this disease needs that. So that hopefully, a few years from now, when a kid gets diagnosed, they say, he's got DIPG, and this is how we're going to treat it.
I need to know that a lot of good is coming out of that little life. And I believe that is happening. I truly do. And that's an amazing legacy. My 5-year-old son is changing the world.
You can help us beat cancer. Log on to www.jimmyv.org or call 1-800-4-JIMMY-V to donate. All donations benefit the V Foundation for Cancer Research. We'll continue with halftime in a moment. Welcome back. Second round of the NCAA FCS Championship. Jacksonville State, top seed and number 1 team in the country, leading Chattanooga 21-14. Jim Barber, Pete Nigerian, who started back in the day at the University of Minnesota. Well, almost a scoreless first half, just 1 touchdown toward the end of that first quarter. So it should say a scoreless first quarter. Then in the second quarter, things really exploded.
Right.
What happened?
Well, it just seemed like both offenses just finally found their rhythm, and it seemed to me like Eli Jenkins was unstoppable, not only running the football, but throwing the football. Now, on the other side, Huseman was able to run the ball, just hasn't been able to throw it very well yet. So the dual threat on one side is really produced. That's why they've got 21 points. I think if the second half we start to see Tennessee Chattanooga find that play, find that offense, throwing the football as well, we got ourselves a ball game.
Yep, let's take a look at Mocs quarterback Huseman in the first half, who led an 80-yard scoring drive initially.
Yeah, he is a tough kid. They moved him downfield. They started running between the guards. You can see it right up the center, but it's his athleticism in terms of speed that really makes the difference for him. North-south runner does a great job.
And then Eli Jenkins started to go to work through the air. He found Ruben Gonzalez, and then he called his own number.
He did. He called his number once or twice out there, and for good reason. This guy knows how to find his way into the end zone, does an outstanding job of driving his legs, moving, shifty. You can see just how shifty he is right there. Great move, stopped, jump stepped, moved to the outside, found himself into the end zone again.
Well, we headlined these 2 quarterbacks at the start. They have not disappointed. Each has scored 2 touchdowns. Football belongs to Jacksonville State when we start the third. This NCAA FCS Championship is presented by Northwestern Mutual. Teams are out, about set for the start of the third quarter. Moments ago, we talked with Russ Huseman, head coach of the Mocs. Russ, how important was it for Jacob Huseman to get that touchdown run of 45 yards with you trailing 21-7?
It was huge, but the play before that was Stovall making a play with people all over him was a big play right there, because that got the 2-minute drive started, and then obviously we popped one. That was big to get it 21-14.
They were able to amass 216 yards, Jacksonville State, in 3 scoring drives. Any changes for the second half defensively?
Yeah, we got some changes. We had a lot of adjustments. We were scrambling in the first half. they had done some things we hadn't seen all year, and we were scrambling to try to get it fixed, and we really didn't get it fixed, and hopefully at half we got it fixed, and we'll be a little bit better.
Thank you, Russ. If it's possible, enjoy the second half.
Thank you, guys.
That's number 6, Reggie Hall, back with Lawan DeBartoleben to start that second half. What kind of defensive changes do you think he's going to put together here in this second half?
Well, somehow they're going to have to figure out a way to get a little bit more pressure on Eli Jenkins when he's back there in the pocket. But more importantly, they've got to stop him running the football. He's running up and down the field on them right now, and they're going to have to make some adjustments on the inside, and they're going to have to start stunting and trying to figure out ways to not only stop him, but maybe they can get some turnovers like they've done in the past.
DeBartoleben couldn't get up to the 20. Good open field tackle by the Mocs. Able to get to the ball carrier before he can get any kind of head of steam. So this potential scoring drive for Jacksonville State will start from inside its own 20 as we bring you front and center to the start of the second half. And you mentioned Eli Jenkins, 15 carries in the first half for 106 and a couple of scores. As we compare the two quarterbacks, Huseman hasn't thrown the ball much, hasn't needed to, but really, as his dad and head coach said, that pass to Stovall started to set up that second scoring drive.
Yeah, I think to have some success in the second half, they're going to eventually have to get themselves throwing the football much better than they did in the first half.
Pope cutting up the middle and carrying to the 25-yard line, and a pickup of 8. Troy Maine Pope has 8 rushes now for 43 yards and a score.
He's fast, he's a grinder, he's a tough runner. You've got to like everything that he brings to the game for Jacksonville State running the football. Pope, and that time, great job just cutting back. They stopped him right at the line of scrimmage. He was able to cut back to his right and get himself 8 yards on that play. That's the difference. They've got to stop those 8 and 9 yard running plays.
Jenkins stepping up, had a receiver at the 45-yard line. That was intended for Dalton Screws.
Yeah, Screws has got to make this catch. Great rush coming from the outside. You can see at that time by Keontae Davis. 2 sacks in the first half, a forced fumble. He had a great first half. Second quarter, not as good, but Eli Jenkins put that ball right on the money. Screws has got to make that catch.
See if the Mocs can get a stop here on third down, where Jacksonville State is 5 for 9. Second best in the Ohio Valley during the regular season, 43%. Running Pope to the outside, first down into the secondary. Pope still going with the football. He carries all the way to midfield. That's a pickup of 25 on third down.
Well, we've watched this play run time and time again where Jenkins has kept the football. That time, great read, giving the football to Pope to get to the outside. The defense came crashing down, expecting Jenkins to keep it. He gave it to Pope. Pope getting not only a first down, but all the way to midfield.
Wow. And this one could go to the house. It's Pope, 20, 10, 5, touchdown!
And that is not how Russ Huseman wanted this second half to start off. Opening drive, great job starting at the 15-yard line, and yet you give up big play, another big play, and then this explosive play to Pope. Missed tackles, the open area, able to carve right through the center of the field, right in the middle, and then burst to the outside, uses that speed to get to the end zone. That can't be what they're going to be doing in the second half, or they're going to have a real problem. They can't wear down. And they wore down in week 1. They can't wear down on defense.
This is Connor Rulo for his 49th made extra point of the year. How about this? Troy Maine Pope at the break had 35 yards rushing. Now he's up to 106. And he has his second touchdown, and it is back to a 2-touchdown lead for Jacksonville State.
Not such a bad average either here. Obviously that long run helped, but this is a guy, when you look at how many carries he's had this year, he's been averaging 7 yards a carry for the year. So this is not unusual for him to have 7 yards a carry in this game, and you can see why. The explosive plays, and right here, as you can see, just bursts to the outside. This is the kind of runner that he is. He gets through the middle, but once he can burst to the outside, he uses that speed, accelerates to the next level. You've got defenders in the defensive backfield that can't catch him. Great job by Pope.
That was a 4-play drive of 83 yards and accomplished in a very limited amount of time. How about a minute and 15? So the Mocs back in a 2-touchdown deficit. And for Pope, the newly elected captain of the team, a great start to the second half. Almost seemed as if the Mocs, who made adjustments, saw Jacksonville State say, we got to get Pope more involved. Divergent on the return. And a good one at that. Across the 30-yard line. Finally brought down. But work to be done right now as the last 4 scoring drives of 28 plays accomplished 28 points and 305 total.
Wow. Well, we know how good that defense is. The offense is just as explosive. When you look at both sides of the ball, the defense can just suffocate the opposing teams and what they're able to do. But Huseman found his way down the center on multiple occasions in the first half. Obviously 14 points on the board. He's done a great job running the football. You just stick with him. The previous drive, the last drive they had, he had that long run for the touchdown. You just stick with what's working, and what's working is between the guards.
Got to be pretty deflating as Crane carries that first down for the defense of the Mocs to have made significant changes at the break, and it didn't matter on that first drive.
Yeah, you wonder what kind of changes they were talking about there. I think they were able to get to the outside on one of the rushing plays by Pope when they moved to the outside, and I think what they're trying to do is contain and bring those ends in fast. But if you're coming in fast, that's going to open up those alleys on the outside. So look for Pope to maybe get more and more to the outside as well.
Huseman only threw 6 balls in the first half. That may have to change for them to have a chance to win. Will Young is isolated on the near side on man coverage. Number 40, Darius Jackson. Long, athletic, and good against the zone read. That's the book on him.
Yeah, and that book's exactly right, and well read by him, obviously. Look at him, the way he comes down, crashes down into Huseman. You know, Darius Jackson on one side, just an incredible athlete because he's not big. He's 6'3", 230 pounds, puts his hand in the ground, but he and Chris Landrum both, they come crashing down from the outsides, and their athleticism is what really helps them out. We talked about speed. If you're going to run on this football team, they've had better success between the guards, between the tackles. You try to get to the outside, that's a problem. That time, Darius Jackson, just an incredible move to get inside.
They need to pick up 4 here. Huseman avoids the rush and now has to throw it away. It's a 3 and out for Chattanooga after giving up a touchdown to start the second half.
Well, and this is how the game sort of started out for the UTC offense. They struggled early, but what are they going to be able to do? They've got to answer the bell.
There are 2 scoring drives, one which put them ahead 7-0. We're good for 156 yards since then. They've been averaging just a little more than 10 yards a drive. Well, you look at the OVC, first teamers on defense and offense, it is loaded with Jacksonville State people.
Wow, the talent level that they've got here, when you walk around down in that field in the pregame warm-ups and you see these players, some of these players were in the SEC uniforms not that long ago, in ACC uniforms. These guys are very, very talented, very good football players all over the place on both sides of the ball.
This is a booming punt that will head into the end zone. Good for more than 60 yards. It's Jacksonville State football when we come back. Next Friday or Saturday, catch the winner of this game in the quarterfinal round of the FCS playoffs on ESPN3. For more info, go to NCAA.com. That's the official online home for all 89 NCAA championships. Stand by. We'll have the bracket for you momentarily. I hope you have it memorized. We'll be quizzing you on. Man coverage for Barge over the shoulder catch. And what a catch it was. How much better can Fritz defend that for the Mocs?
You can't. And not only the catch, but how about the way Eli Jenkins just quick step. He looks to his left, turns to his right, and puts this ball where the only guy coming down with it is Josh Barge. Outstanding play.
It's a catch at 26 and a first down at the 46. Jenkins off the zone read. Out of bounds and a pickup at 12. You almost get the impression that a touchdown by the Gamecocks could be a knockout punch here.
Oh, it could be. You know, momentum moves fast, man. And I'll tell you what, everybody thinks Pope's got the football here. He doesn't have the football. Jenkins does. Right up the center, then bounces to his right, gets himself out of bounds. 1st and 10.
Jenkins now 16 carries for 119. That's Miles Jones with his 5th rush of the game. Late in the Citadel-Charleston Southern game, it is 14-6 Charleston Southern. The winner of that game faces the winner of our game either Friday night or Saturday, and if Jacksonville State wins, the Gamecocks will be here for the next round. Jenkins looking down the field for Barge. He got bumped to the 10. Pass interference coming up against Divergent.
And actually, he had it pretty well covered, but unfortunately, Divergent put his body.
Interference, number 3, defense, 15-yard penalty, automatic 1st down.
He just literally took his eye off the receiver completely and was looking at the football, and because of that runs into him, and they're going to throw the flag every single time that happens. Eli Jenkins, great job in the pocket once again, having that presence. Had the rush coming from the outside, was able to step up in front of that rush and put that ball out there for the receiver. Divergent just got there a little bit too early.
We've only had a combined 3 penalties in this game, Pete.
Yeah.
That one moves the football to the 25-yard line of Chattanooga. Miles Jones trying to work his way through as the Kavion Leslie comes up from his Mike linebacker spot to make the tackle. In the previous game, Leslie had 8 tackles and a tackle for loss against Jacksonville State.
But that's a name that we haven't said a lot today. And here's a guy with 14 tackles for a loss. He's got 4 sacks. He leads the team in tackles. And I don't recall too many tackles made by him so far.
Which is a good sign for the Gamecocks. 2nd and 7. Jenkins the keep. This time they surround him. And Leslie's the first guy to meet him.
He makes 2 in a row.
Yeah. So I like hearing my name called. Brings up a 3rd down and 6 yards. It's a makeable field goal from this position if this drive should stall.
That time the defender's doing a great job of stretching. All 3, you could see all 3 defenders stretching him to the outside. Jenkins really didn't have anywhere to go.
Jenkins going to look to the sidelines and now ready to dial up the play, and still lots of time left on the play clock. Down to 10. Needs to pick up 6 to the end zone, looking for a touchdown.
Wow.
Yes, sir. What a throw, what a catch.
You know, we talked about wearing down the defense. It feels like they really are wearing down because run, now let's put that ball up into the air. And talked about how accurate Jenkins has been. Look at where he puts that ball, right into the arms of Ruben Gonzalez. A perfect pass into the end zone. You could see that setting up from the second that ball was snapped. You saw Jenkins just look to his left and just almost, you could see the smile on his face as he launched that ball into the corner of the end zone.
Yes, usually a solid rushing game sets up the pass, and that's exactly what happened on the 3rd touchdown reception by Gonzalez. Now the referee is over to the sidelines, and we may be going to replay on this one to first of all determine if it was a catch. What do you think, Pete?
Well, it sure looked like a catch, but I'll tell you what, as
like
that
it was
ball
come down a little bit.
When we first saw it, it looks like the nose of the ball might have come down onto the ground. They might be bringing this thing back.
Let's see if this angle is a little bit more descriptive. Well, the one thing is he's able to cradle the ball in as that ball was reaching the pavement.
Yeah.
And a lot of times that might be enough. It takes irreversible evidence to overthrow the call, and our referee today is Stuart Mullins, and our instant replay man is Joe Ryder. Again, this is a Big South officiating crew.
Joe's had a couple of tough ones today. That fumble that happened, did he cross? Was he into the end zone or not? And that ball ended up on the 6-inch line. And here, this one. Was Gonzalez able to get that elbow kind of, like you said, cradle it? Was he able to cradle that ball in time so the nose of the ball didn't get down there?
With that ball coming down, we could be looking for a reversal here. Let's see.
To review, the receiver did not have firm possession of the ball when he went to the ground. The pass is incomplete. It'll be 4th down at the 21-yard line. The clock is correct, and we'll start on the snap due to the incomplete pass.
Well, no argument from Ruben Gonzalez.
Yeah. You know, when we watched it, and you pointed it out, but that ball, and you could see it. There's Jenkins.
That's classic.
Yeah, they're all keeping an eye on it, but I think there was more hope on that play than anything, because once you saw that replay, it certainly looked pretty clear that that ball might have just hit the ground.
Well, maybe Ruben wasn't happy with the call. This is a attempt at 38 yards from Cooper Rulo with a chance to put his team up by 3 scores as a touchdown is negated. No good.
Wow.
Take away the touchdown. Scratch the field goal. It's an empty possession for Jacksonville State. And the Mocs still within 2 scores.
Well, that's a huge turnaround right there. I mean, massive, because not only not getting the touchdown, but not putting points on the board, not getting 3 points, not getting anything. And now suddenly they're in a position where they look up at the scoreboard, down 28-14. They were down 14 points before. It was 21-7 at one point. So they don't have to feel like they're out of it. I think if that were a touchdown, I would have a sense that that sideline goes quiet on us pretty quick. But because it's not, there's new life right now for Houston in this offense. They've got to get it clicking, though. They've got to pick up where they were on that last drive of the second quarter.
You think about the power of television replay over the years. And prior to that being introduced to our game, that score would have been upheld. It would have been 35-14 with an extra point, and this game, for all practical purposes, might be over. Instead, Chattanooga football from the 25 down by 14.
And Derek Crane getting the ball that time. We haven't seen him get it as much. It's been a little bit more about Houston. They're trying to find different ways to move this ball down the field. They've gotten it into the air a little bit. Stovall had that catch, but
Huseman sacked back inside the 15. That's Chris Landrum, his 7th sack of the year.
You know, on the previous drive, we had Darius Jackson making a big play on the outside, and now you've got Chris Landrum. We've talked about, can you get to the edge? Well, they didn't get to the edge that time. Great job, Chris Landrum that time. 6'3", 260 pounds out of Sweetwater, Alabama, a transfer from Auburn. Great play. That's what this D-line is really made of. You've got 3 or 4 guys on that front 4 that are transfers, that are outstanding football players, but they want to play football. They don't want to sit in the bench, so they're getting their opportunity here.
Huseman stepping up with man coverage, firing it down the field. It's a big play for the Mocs. At the 34-yard line on a dart by Huseman. And they're back in business. Man, is this big.
We're talking about Eli Jenkins and how accurate he is. Huseman's accurate as well. We're talking about a 67% completion rate, but look at how he puts that ball right up in the air and floats it over the defender. Great opportunity for Board to come down with it. CJ Board's 6'2", so you've got a little bit of height on the outside there, and why not put the ball up in the air? That's something they haven't had a lot of success with this year, and that's why some of Huseman's numbers are a little bit less. He's only got 10 touchdown passes this year.
Just the 4th completed pass of this game for Huseman in 8 attempts. That one was good for 43 yards on the second catch of the game for CJ Board as Crane fumbles, but able to recover. But there's a huge loss on the play back to the 47, a loss of 6.
Yeah, you got to take advantage of that great field position. There you are, 1st and 10 on the 41-yard line, and now you're looking at a 2nd and long. Pushing yourself back, you just can't make those kind of mistakes when you're down 14 points to an incredible #1 team in the country. You've got to go toe-to-toe with them. You can't make those mistakes. Can't afford it.
Benefield in motion. The backup quarterback in slot. That's an incompleted pass to Bagley. It'll be 3rd and long. You know what? If they don't get any points in this drive, that fumble by Crane, that's almost like a turnover, because even though you didn't lose the ball to Jacksonville State, you may have taken yourself out of a potential scoring drive.
Right, and you're trying to capitalize on that momentum, that great pass to the outside to CJ Board, getting it downfield like that. I like the play call just there, though. Trying to get a nice, short, easy pass, quick pass to Bagley. He's got the speed, just couldn't get a hold of that football. Huseman threw it a little bit low, made it a little tougher for him. Now it's 3rd and long. This is a very, very difficult situation because those ears are back on that defensive line.
Play clock at 4. Board and Young, the outside receivers. Huseman over center, flushed out. Looking to throw down the field. It's got a receiver. It's Board. And the catch is made at the 9-yard line. There is a penalty flag. But if it's against Jacksonville State, it will be upheld. And a pickup of 38.
You'd think it would be like a holding call potentially against Jacksonville State on the defensive side.
Holding. Number 23 defense. Penalties decline. Result of play, first down.
It's on Brandon Benner. And now the Mocs are in the red zone inside the 10, and Huseman has come up large. And you said they needed to throw the ball and with some accuracy, and he's doing it right now.
Yeah, and he's finding the right guy. He's got C.J. Board on the outside. Nice job getting that ball out to him. Excellent. He turned from his left to his right. Not the easiest thing in the world as he's going towards that sideline. But Huseman found himself in a little bit of a stress, moved to the outside, got that ball in the air. Excellent execution. Now you've got a great opportunity to get that ball in the end zone.
Operating at 82% efficiency over the middle, incomplete.
And that's one of those tough plays. That time you can see Huseman, he's going to move to his left. Now that's going to be really difficult. He has to stop to be able to turn, to get that body turn and get that ball. Throws it behind the receiver. It's because he's forced to move to his left to start that play. Just doesn't work. And they've got now, you just wonder, what kind of play calling do you want to do here? Expect to see something run, but they might want to get that ball up in the air one more time.
28 touchdowns at 51 possessions. Prior to today, they need a score here. Trying to reduce the game to 7 points as Crane carries straight ahead. It'll be 3rd and goal from the 7. So let's look ahead to a big 3rd down play. And you are the OC, the offensive coordinator, Jeff Durden. What do you like here?
Well, I think whatever you want to do with Huseman right now, you want to be able to buy him some time back there. And you're going to be looking for some crossing. You know, sometimes they call them rub routes, pick routes, whatever you want to call it. But you're going to have some guys crossing. It looks like on this left side you got the best chance to see that. But if they can find an open receiver on a rub route out here to the left, we've got a chance. Maybe on the right.
Young goes in motion and winds up in the slot. Huseman rolling to his right. Here comes pressure. Now throwing back to his left's got a man. Touchdown! What a great play call. It's James Stovall who's come alive here in the second half of the Mocs. It's an 8-point game.
And this isn't a rub play, but you've got all the receivers on the right-hand side, and you're going to drag one all the way across to the other side. It's James Stovall all by himself. The two defenders almost knock each other out. Gives an opportunity for Stovall to be able to run under the ball. Huseman had enough time to make that play work because that play took a while to let it play out. Get those receivers on the right and be able to get Stovall off on the left-hand side.
For the man from Sao Paulo, Brazil, Enrique Ribeiro, his 79th consecutive extra point. More importantly, Huseman to Stovall. 63 career touchdown throws now for Jacob. This game is tightened up. Jacksonville State had a touchdown refuted. Chattanooga just got a score moments ago. And so the Mocs sidelines, led by this man in his 7th year, Russ Huseman, now has come alive in a highly competitive game and much higher scoring than the previous two potentially that we saw between the two teams. There's the touchdown throw that wasn't to Ruben Gonzalez, overturned by replay. And then it was Huseman and James Stovall principally on this drive, which was 9 plays, 79 yards, accomplished in less than 4 minutes.
And that's how you answer a problem. And the problem was being down by 14, and it could have been a whole lot worse. And suddenly you're down by 7 now because of the fact that Huseman did just an outstanding job finding different receivers down the field. And C.J. Board, give him a lot of credit, but James Stovall on that long crossing pattern, what a great play call. Jacob Huseman found himself a little bit of room to the right-hand side. Everybody thought he was going right, and there came Stovall off to the left. He was the only guy there in the end zone.
Charleston Southern defeated the Citadel today 14-6. So Charleston Southern lies ahead either for John Gross and Jacksonville State or Chattanooga. And that'll be either Friday night or Saturday. Also 2 other winners today. Colgate beat James Madison in a shootout 44-38, and it was Richmond 48, William and Mary 13. And just about to get started, the rematch between North Dakota State and Montana. Troymaine Pope on the carry. How many times on first down has he carried for 7 or 8 yards, Pete?
Yeah, this guy, I'll tell you what, it's amazing. There's so much talent out there that they really have their choice of however they want to approach each and every drive. And we've seen Eli Jenkins lead it off multiple times, faking to Pope, and that time handed it off to Pope. And like you said, you get 6, 7, 8 yards on first down. That's a great way to start things off.
Fake to Jones, Jenkins the keep, first down. And he carries a couple of guys with him to midfield and beyond. Eli Jenkins, who's now carried for 135 on the day.
They just have not been able to find the right answer here, because you can see their linebacker played it very, very well, A.J. Hampton, but there's another name. A.J. Hampton, these linebackers, he and Leslie, they've got to make more plays than they are, and they're not making those plays, and because of it, Jenkins is just running up and down the field.
For the game now, Jacksonville State has 19 first downs. When these two teams met earlier in the season and last year, 3-point games each time. Jenkins now 9 of 15 for 140 in the air, but it's his running game today that's been so impressive. 139 for 2 scores.
That's not a bad balance, right?
Oh, it's yards separate according to my math. It's tremendous. Looking for Barge, battling Divergent every step of the way. Barge wanted pass interference.
You know, I think it was going a little bit both ways there, so I think it was a good no call, but Eli Jenkins once again trying to put that ball in the air. You see him pointing at himself there, and the reason he was it was a little bit short. It just wasn't there. You need to put it over the top and put it to the corner, over the corner, so that there's an opportunity for Barge to come down with the ball. It just wasn't there.
Mox Grandstand starting to rise right now. They brought 7 buses from 90 minutes away in Chattanooga. They know this is a big defensive play here. A stop, and they're going to get the football. Jenkins keeping, but he didn't get far enough. Reynolds 94, last man to swallow him up, and that should mean a punt for Jacksonville State.
Look how fast the tide can turn.
Oh, yes.
I mean, this game could have just been out of reach, and instead...
You play this game, you know what it's like.
It's amazing, but, you know, you find yourself in a really difficult spot. Huseman makes an incredible play to the outside to C.J. Board, and the next thing you know, you're putting points on the board. Now, you suddenly stop Eli Jenkins in this offense. You're going to get the ball back with an opportunity to tie it up.
Yep. C.J. Board is back as the lone punt returner. He'll run up on the football at the 13 with a head of steam.
Ooh, he's got us.
Here he goes. C.J. Board returns it for 43 yards, and the field's been flipped, and the Mocs are getting themselves in scoring position to tie the game.
You know, in week 1, when these two teams met up, it really was about field position getting flipped. Well, we just have seen it, and you just said it, but this is getting flipped. They were just moving the ball down the field. It looked like it was going to be another difficult time. How do you stop Eli Jenkins? Well, they finally stop him. They punt the ball, and C.J. Board puts him in a great spot on the other side of the 50, and here they are marching it. They got a chance to tie this thing up.
You can see the concern now, Pete, from the Jacksonville State fans. They're rising, knowing their team needs to make a stop or we could have a tie game. All this after the Gamecocks led by 2 scores and had a touchdown negated by replay that would have put them up by 3. 3 receiver set. Quarterback keep. Huseman bounces off maybe his own guy, trying to get to that perimeter and drop for a loss. They got some speed guys on that front line, and then they can get the linebackers and guys like DeBarius Miller from the strong safety spot to come in for the kill.
Yeah, they certainly did. And you look at DeBarius Miller, does a great job of just stretching him out. We know he's got speed, but not quite enough speed to get to that edge. He's got that straightaway speed, that north-south, like his father was talking about. Russ Huseman's talked about. He's not the most talented guy you'll ever see, but north-south, he's going to be able to run the football. That time he got going east-west and lost a yard.
He was recruited by his dad, no surprise there. His dad decided that during the recruiting process he would go easy on him because that's how he would treat any recruit. As he runs with the football for a first down here inside the 35. Now we talked to Jacob's mom Amy, and of course Russ's wife. She said, well, he did have a little soft there during that recruiting process, not aiming to take out the garbage or, clean up the room. But she said, I got a lot of mileage out of it, too.
Yeah.
He's now over 4,000 for his career running the football, and 13 of those 4,011 came on that play.
And that was a great decision. He made the decision. That's what makes dual threat quarterbacks just so scary. If they have that capability to make a very fast decision, nothing was there to pass. That was a pass all the way. He ran the football, got 13 yards, got the first down.
Back to Crane, who just likes to run over people, and he gets 5 on the first down rush. As we have 90 seconds remaining in the third quarter, we are building up some drama for the fourth and maybe beyond.
We really are. I'll tell you, it's incredible. 10 minutes ago, the two of us were standing here watching whether or not this was going to be a touchdown or not, and the other end of the field for Jacksonville State. And meanwhile, you flip it around, and here they are moving the ball on a 2nd and 6, and they're in great position offensively. Two backs in the backfield.
Mocs are averaging 6.5 yards on a run. This is for a first down for Huseman. Into the red zone. Jacob Huseman, the senior quarterback from Chattanooga, leading the charge.
I mentioned right before the snap there was two backs in the backfield, but what they did was they had Bagley come in motion, dragging some of the defenders to the outside. It splits it wide open. And that was an absolute quarterback draw that time by Jacob Huseman. Gets the first down, now inside the 20. The offense is really finding that rhythm. We talked about how can they do it. They're finding it now.
Let's see how David Blackwell, the defensive coordinator, defends here. On first down, Bagley's got to cut it back and maybe a yard on the play. And if you're Blackwell, what's important here in terms of that front four?
Well, he's got to get them to be much more aggressive than they have been right now. It's been too wide open in the center, and Huseman's taken advantage of it.
We'll see you in the fourth quarter. This is what the Mocs offense is staring at, that student section over there that will be rocking here as Chattanooga tries to go the distance to tie the game. Jim Barber, Pete Nigerian, we start the fourth. To Bagley in the flat. Tries to cut it back, can't do it.
Great play by Miller on the outside that time. The safety coming up. Bagley coming out of the backfield's got great speed. Quick screen pass out to him from Huseman, and there was just nowhere for him to go. Miller was on top of him almost immediately.
Since Jacksonville State, Pete, missed a field goal, Chattanooga has dominated. Running 15 plays to 5. More importantly here, already in field goal range. And any kind of points will help. A touchdown will pull them even. Let's see if they send more than 4.
Got a shot at a first down still.
Rushing 5, Huseman to throw across the middle to the end zone. Touchdown! What a play call!
It was so open there in the center of the field, and they talked about this coming in this week. They said, look, we can attack him in the middle of the field. That's exactly where it is, in between the hashes. Great job. Huseman has plenty of time, looks downfield, rifles the ball right into the end zone.
Alfonso Stewart with a catch. They're an extra point away from a tie. Ribeiro's not missed in his last 79. He's not going to miss there. How about this? Once down by 2 and 3 touchdowns before replay. We're even at 28 on a 7-play, 45-yard scoring drive. Well, if you stepped away when it was 28-14 or maybe even 35-14, at least for the moment before replay, welcome back. That's the play right now that would have put Jacksonville State up by 3 scores, but you can tell by Eli Jenkins' reaction to replay wasn't happy. And then Alfonso Stewart with the receiving touchdown. Look at Jacob Huseman there.
That's great. It's college football, man. There's nothing better. Nothing better. FCS. #1 team in the country, all tied up. Woo.
Hall's going to run up on it. past the 5-yard line. Now running the near side's got blockers. Able to make a one-man miss, then brought down before he could even get to the 20. Jacksonville State needs an answer. A minute into the fourth quarter, the #1 team in the country being challenged. Russ Huseman said we're going to make defensive changes at halftime. Didn't show in the first Jacksonville State drive, but since then, they have pulled even at 28. Jenkins on the rollout, completes a pass to Barge up the 24-yard line. Josh Barge is their home run hitter, and for the most part, the man that Russ Huseman calls the best wideout in the country on the FCS level has been neutralized.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, this Josh Barge, though, he is a spectacular player, and Huseman talked about how hard he tried to recruit him to go to Tennessee Chattanooga, but now he's got to face him, and he's watching him on the other side of the field. He's just an outstanding receiver, and Eli Jenkins, nice job getting to the outside of the pocket to get that ball out to him.
And Pope gets to the outside there, bumped out of bounds, not before he picks up a first down at the 32 and a pickup of 8. Romaine Pope now 12 carries for 133. Eli Jenkins 19 for 142. As Pete, they approach 300 yards on the ground.
It's been amazing. It's not that dissimilar from week 1 when they had so many rushing yards, nearly 300 yards on the ground in that game, but we still got almost a quarter to go here. But the running game has been very, very difficult to stop, but Tennessee Chattanooga's had a few opportunities where they've gotten the ball back, and that's what you need to do.
Looking for Gonzalez, he's got it! Well, I don't think replay will take that one away from him.
That big-bodied receiver, he gets to the outside. Not a real complicated play here. He just a little quick out and up, and he gets out and up. And as he's getting up, you can see Eli Jenkins, once again, just perfect ball placement, gives him an opportunity to come down with the ball. He came up short in the previous drive and put themselves in a difficult spot where they got stopped on a third down play.
That was a pickup of 34 yards as Pope carries on first down. Can't say enough about how Troy Maine Pope has carried the football on first down, and Troy seems to be shaken up a little bit here. In fact, he's going to come out of the game, and 21 Jones will replace him. That could be huge. Let's see if we can pick up what happened.
Look at how low he is as he's coming through that hole. Just absolutely amazing. Knees almost touching the ground as he's driving.
Little fade route on 2nd and 4 to the end zone.
Picked.
And it is picked. Fritz with the interception. CJ's had a tough day in spots, but he comes up with a huge interception there. That may have been Lucas Webb back there helping him out.
Well, Eli Jenkins has had so much success laying that ball out just where it needs to be, and that was exactly the case there, but it bounces off the hands of Barge, and because of that, it's a great opportunity for an interception. Now, the two defenders nearly fight over this ball to see who's going to get it.
Yeah.
Thank goodness one of them held on.
CJ Fritz with a big-time interception, his first of the year, and for this Chattanooga defense, their 18th takeaway of the season. It was interesting. Lucas Webb was back there with him. Had Webb recorded the interception, not that it really matters, would have been his 10th. That would have surpassed Russ Huseman with the all-time interception mark.
Yeah.
He's trivial, I know. But
but he's quite a talent, and he was right there. So between the two of them, at least somebody came down with the football.
By the way, we asked Huseman after the win over Fordham last week on ESPN3, what about the fact that Webb had now pulled even with you? He said, well, he's a lot faster than I was. That was likely a given.
Just amazing
drives.
His interception count is amazing. I mean, the 6 that he's gotten, and then another 3, and nearly the 4th right there to make it 10, as you said, but outstanding defensive back.
Those last 2 scoring drives you saw, as this offense has rejuvenated itself here in the second half. Fake to Bagley, straight ahead. Huseman keeps. Now sets up a 3rd and long. Let's look ahead to an important 3rd down play early in the 4th quarter. What might OC Jeff Durden dial up here?
If I were Jeff right now, I'd be looking for somebody between those hash marks. They had success before. We talked about that's where they wanted to attack. During early parts of the week, Wednesday, Thursday, we had a chance to be on those calls and talked about how can we effectively get after them. Well, in the passing game, it's going to be between the hash marks. So I'd be looking for somebody there.
Chattanooga 5 for 10 on 3rd down, 50%. This is one of the top third down converting teams against one of the best third down defending teams in the country.
Running out of time on the play clock.
4.5 minutes into the fourth quarter, tied at 28. Huge third down play coming up for the Mocs. 3rd and 8 from their own 22 in a tied game.
Double tight end. Interesting.
Huseman's going to try to run for it. Can he get there?
He does. Wow.
Jacob Huseman was in trouble, able to get out of the difficulty carrying the football up to the 37, a pickup of 15 on a big third down play.
What I think really surprised the defense, probably surprised the two of us up here in the press box, but looking down there and seeing a 2 tight end set, it's a Jim Harbaugh thing. 2 tight end set, 2 wide outs, you got one back. He gets back, he's got plenty of protection, it's maximum protection, gives himself time. There still isn't anybody open, he chooses to run the football, gets the first down, so maybe that timeout actually worked in their favor.
Yeah, instead of punting back at your own 10, if you fail on third down, fresh set of downs now for the 37, and they'll keep it again. And this time he is dragged down. I mean, he is thrown down to the ground by 47 Dawson Wells, who has a couple of pick sixes this year for that Jacksonville State defense.
But he's been quiet today, and it's amazing to me because coming in, I would have expected, we're going to say this kid's name all day long. Dawson Wells, the senior linebacker out of Ocean Springs, Mississippi. Leads the team in tackles. He's got 3 interceptions. Leads the team in interceptions as well. 3 tackles for a loss, but we haven't said his name enough today, and it's because they've done such a great job up front to that offensive line. Again, it's Herron, it's Revis, it's Levin.
Huseman, plenty of time to throw the football. James Stovall, terrific catch. At the 39-yard line at Jacksonville State. After a non-existent first half for Stovall, man, has he come alive.
You know, when they've really needed it, they've found him. They found him in the end zone for the touchdown, and great job that time by Jacob Huseman, giving an opportunity for a nice big receiver, 6'3", puts that ball up in the air. He's able to jump over the defender and hold on to that ball, obviously using just his 2 hands to get way up into the air, comes down for the reception.
How about this? Looks like a double pass. Benefield back to the quarterback. And look at him go. There's a penalty flag on the play. Back to the line of scrimmage. Huseman headed to the end zone.
Holy smoke.
Touchdown. Now the question is, will it be upheld?
Oh, I think it will. I think what happened over here, why that flag's on the field, I think is it was, maybe a late shot or a shot to the head as he's throwing that ball back over to Huseman. So we'll see how the call plays out. But
no, it's definitely against Jacksonville State, so the touchdown's going to hold.
Personal foul, roughing the passer, number 25 defense. That 15-yard penalty will be enforced on the kickoff. Result of the play is a touchdown. We will play the try.
And the Mocs have taken the lead.
Now let's just go back a few minutes when the score was 35-14 potentially.
Yeah.
But you can see it right there. Just a shot, a really tough shot. But again, interesting to see who's that throwing the football over there, back from one quarterback to another, right?
Good point. The quarterback of the future, Benefield. Extra point on the way and good. The Mocs, who once led at 7-0, have regained a lead at 35-28 and just a terrific second-round game in the FCS playoffs.
We saw it light up, but this pass back to Huseman, look at that, and he's got the Warriors in front of him.
The NCAA FCS Football Championship is presented by Northwestern Mutual. For the record, Alejandro Benefield's second touchdown pass of the year. Jacob Huseman has now rushed for touchdowns, thrown touchdowns, caught touchdowns. Is there anything left for him to do?
That's why this guy is the offensive player of the conference and the MVP. I mean, there's so many accolades this guy's got in his resume. It's just crazy, but he's deserving of every one of them. And he's got, I think, just about every record in the history books of the school at this point. Unreal.
That 15-yard penalty assessed on the kickoff will allow the Mocs to boom this one well into the end zone. So Jacksonville State, with 8:35 left in regulation, will start from its own 25-yard line. Let's go back to that play once again.
Yeah, there's Huseman. He's throwing it, and it's well behind to Benefield, so it's easy. It's absolutely a lateral, and he gets the ball right back. But look at the big fellas up front. You just got to love seeing how tired are these guys, and they are out front of him. Hunter Townsend and Levin and these guys, the center, Rivas, Heron, Cardero, all these guys just doing an outstanding job on this comeback, because this is the #1 team in the country, and this is one of the best defensive teams in the country.
Pope trying to get some momentum back, swinging to the outside and doing what he's done so many times on first down, carrying for a solid gain. That's going to be a pickup of 6. Clock stops for a moment. Timeout situation. All 3 for Jacksonville State remain. The last 3 drives have netted yards, but no points. And again, the touchdown taken away by replay, maybe the deciding factor in this game. That would have put the Gamecocks up by 21. Jenkins straight ahead and swallowed up.
It's a nice play. Wow.
That's brand number 44, so that leaves him now with a 3rd down play coming up.
3rd and about 3, it looks like. Now, let's remember, the UTC defense, they've been bending and bending and bending, as you pointed out, with the points at 0, but a lot of yards there. The defense has come up with big plays when they've had to make them.
Right now, it's the Jacksonville State offense that needs to come up big. Jenkins, incomplete. Receiver going one way, ball going the other.
Yeah, they were not on the same page that time, because Dalton Screws was not even looking for the football. Eli Jenkins standing out there right now wondering, hey, are we going to go for this thing on 4th and 3?
The moccasin side rises in approval.
They are jacked up, aren't they?
They are sensing the potential of an upset. What could be its first win. Chattanooga over Jacksonville State in the last 3 games. John Gross's team has gone from a 2-touchdown lead to trailing. We'll need a big punt here to flip the field. High, end over end, headed out of bounds.
Let's see. How far is he going to walk up on this one?
Yeah. That moccasin sideline.
Look at it.
Keep going.
You know, those coaches just waving him on.
Please. Why don't you go to midfield if you get a chance, huh? Huseman went over and patted the ball and said, good job, Judge.
Is this Huseman a gamer or what?
Oh, boy.
You go back to the second quarter when there was just a couple of minutes left, and he makes the big play to be able to get into the end zone and at least cut into the lead. Just been amazing, and just big play after big play after big play on offense. And you know, he hadn't had very many yards throwing the football. Now he's starting to find a few yards throwing the football, not just running it as well.
Total of 289 for rushing, passing, and receiving today for the senior quarterback, the coach's son.
It's not a bad day.
Well, Mom Amy should be very happy. She's in the stands somewhere today, rooting him on. Crane for maybe a yard. Again, Jacksonville State, all 3 timeouts remaining, as we'll have this football snapped under the 7-minute mark.
You can tell by the pace that our offense is working right now, even though they're not huddling. They're looking at that clock, and they're trying to chew up that clock on this drive if they can, but there's still 7 minutes to go, so they're going to have to get some first downs.
Well, this is wise right here. Why snap it at 20 seconds?
They're not in a hurry. There's no hurry at all. That's Huseman to Huseman right there looking at each other.
Sounds like a law firm, doesn't it? Snap it with 8 to the side, James Stovall. And Stovall inches forward past the 40. That'll bring us to a 3rd and about 5. And so now the onus is on the Gamecocks defense.
They've got to come up with something. You know, the other thing is, at some point, are they going to put a little bit of pressure on Huseman? Are they going to bring an extra player or two to try to make sure that he's uncomfortable back there? But do you expect a pass right now? You know, if I'm the defensive coordinator, I'm actually looking for him to run the ball, so I'm not so sure I want to rush anybody right now. I don't know if I want to blitz an extra player.
Stovall on board to the outside, Young to the inside receivers. Huseman on 3rd down to Bagley, set up a screen, and he is dropped. Big play for Jacksonville State.
And Huseman took a shot that time by Chris Landrum. I mean, take a look at this, just shot. Bagley nowhere to go.
Brandon Bender, we called his name a lot to start the game.
Yeah.
He comes up huge here on 3rd down. So Josh Barge is back. They get the punt from Ray Barrow. And Eli Jenkins is going to have another opportunity.
He can't wait. That helmet snapped, and he's ready to get out on the field.
Barge will let it go. And it will roll inside the 20.
They chewed up a little bit of that clock, Jim, but there's still 5 minutes and 11 seconds. This is an offense that can score in a hurry, so I don't think when they're looking at 5-11 they have a single concern in the world right now other than, hey, look, we just need to move the chains and get ourselves downfield, put that ball in the end zone one more time.
49-yard punt, no return. Should Barge have handled that?
I think he should have. It seemed like he had enough room to be able to scoop up that ball. Maybe the ball ends up on the 20, 25-yard line. Here you are at your 15, but the problem has not been moving the football and getting first downs. The problem has been mistakes and some of the confusion on offense.
Here's Jenkins. And he gets very close to a first down. In fact, they may give it to him up the 25. That would be a pickup of 10.
And he has been chewing them up all day long. I mean, they got 28 points on the board, so clearly they've done a nice job getting points on the board all day. But
well, we've had a drop pass. That wasn't the best of passes. And then we had Dalton Screws and Eli Jenkins.
They're just not on the same page
radar moments ago either.
There seems to be a little bit of confusion between those two. And the other thing is, because, now I'm speaking from the Jacksonville State side right now, because we've had so much success running the football, I'm not so sure why we want to put the ball up in the air. I mean, he's getting almost 10 yards a carry, Eli Jenkins. Why not just keep going there until they can stop it?
They'll run it on this one. Big hole.
Like that.
Hope is going to go to the end zone. It's a touchdown for Jacksonville State.
Why put the ball in the air?
I think I heard of somebody just say that moments ago.
But why put the, it's amazing. It seems sometimes you feel like it's almost overcoaching. It's like, I want to be cute. I want to do this. I want to do that. Hey, look, I got a running back who's well over 100 yards before that play. I got a quarterback who's run for over 100 yards. Just run the football. It's exactly what they did, and there goes Pope. Woo.
Cooper Rulo for a very important extra point to tie it. Hasn't missed so far today. Doc Ross recognizes the situation. What a play call. That one to the house, and we are tied at 35 in a winner-take-all game. Jimmy Ogles, the running backs coach for Jacksonville State. How pleased he must be with Troy Pope, who just galloped 75 yards to tie the game. So it's Russ Huseman's turn now.
I got adrenaline running, man, up and down. Are you kidding me? This is fantastic.
Kind of a game of one-upmanship, you know? Oh, yeah? I'll match that and I'll raise you.
I'm right there with you, partner. I'll tell you what, and Huseman's got he's got the chin strap snapped up. He's ready to get back out there because, shoot, Jacksonville State's had a hard time stopping them as well.
One of the better kickoffs so far for Jacksonville State. But it doesn't matter, the returns, particularly that one by D. Virgin, doesn't get them to the 20-yard line, and credit number 30. Bryant Horn up there to make the special teams tackle.
Well, they were trying to use some of that clock up, and they didn't use up much of it. They got a couple of minutes off of it. They didn't get enough, and you can see just how fast both these teams can score. And Pope, that run, wow, that was just really something special to watch him just make that burst and get himself all the way into the end zone. But I'll tell you what, we got 4:35 left. We might have a lot more points on the board before we know it.
If we have none, we'll go to overtime. The winner goes to the quarterfinals to face Charleston Southern. On first down, little option from Huseman. That's Crane running to the outside, now cutting it back. And still going with a football. And a penalty flag on top of it. Oh, boy.
Well, you know what? Those are the kind of mistakes that can really cost you. My goodness sakes. Great job by Crane that time.
After the play, personal foul, late hit out of bounds, number 95 defense. 15-yard penalty, automatic. First down.
It's on Alan Carson, and let's see if it's the correct call here as Crane gets to the outside and then cuts it back.
Great blocking by the receivers downfield. Great cut by Crane. He's out of bounds there. Whoa,
Yep.
yeah. Well, you know, sometimes those big fellas, when they've done a lot of running, they get a little bit tired of, hey, I ran all the way over here. I'm not going to get anything. I'm going to get me some. Well, you also got 15-yard penalty, and that's not good because it puts it up here past the 40-yard line.
Chattanooga has 2 timeouts remaining. Jacksonville State, all 3 of its. From the 42. Crane dives forward and a pickup of 5.
He runs low, he runs hard. You just got to love the way he runs because there wasn't much of a hole there. It looked like he was going to get stopped for maybe a 1 or 2 yard gain. It looks like he got about 4, maybe 5.
On the day now, 234 rushing the football for Chattanooga, 376 for Jacksonville. Some phenomenal numbers in a 35-35 tie.
And let's not forget, these are 2 pretty daggone good defensive football teams, especially Jacksonville State.
Yeah, indeed. Nothing doing on that rush, though. As Crane carries, and Chris Landrum is up to greet him. Came into this game with 33.5 tackles for losses.
Yeah, he's a transfer from Auburn, and I'll bet you he's the happiest guy in the world that he's here because he's had a great opportunity to show what he really can be as a football player, and he's showing us today how good he really is. He plays on the other side of the ball, and there's no doubt about it. You mentioned his tackles for loss. He's got a lot of sacks as well. This is a guy who's a heck of a football player.
So here we go, 2:50 left in the game, 3rd and 7 from the 46. Huseman, more option, trying to run it near side. He got stood up by Darius Jackson, and he got help. Gamecocks are going to get the ball with a chance to win it.
You know, Jim, the frustrating thing is, look, they're not penetrating. They're not going to the middle. They're going to the outside again. Now, where have they had success? They've had success running through the middle, between the guards, between the tackles. They got away from it that time. They're trying to get to the outsides, and that's where Landrum, that's where Darius Jackson really perform best on the outsides. They're both, one's 230 pounds, one's 260 pounds. They have speed. They're going to contain that kind of a thing. And because they tried to get to the outside, they lost a few yards there.
Mocs are going to use all of the clock there, then call a timeout. That's wise. That'll give Jacksonville State roughly 30 seconds less to operate on offense. But they are going to punt the ball away. I think that's a given. Let's go back to the key plays in this game. That's Troy Pope. For one of his 2 touchdowns that put him up 28-14. Then the touchdown pass, or so we thought, to Ruben Gonzalez. Replay ruled that the ball was coming down. Did not lead to a touchdown. Then back the other way. Alfonso Stewart. And then Huseman on a double pass to Benefield. Back to Huseman. And here we go. The Mocs had the lead at 35-28. But then somebody said, hey, put the ball on the ground, give it to the running back, and you know what? You were right. That's Troy Pope to tie it from 75 out. So now you're brought up to speed on the second half plays.
I'm tired.
And we may still have a lot of ball to be played.
I need a water.
Total yards now for the 2 teams, almost 1,000.
Well, a minute 56. For this offense, that is an eternity to be able to have the football, and in college football, all the rest of it. But
Barge got pushed out of the way on the play, and the ball rolls another 10 yards.
That's a great play. Give credit to the punter on that one, though. I mean, that sort of sideways kick that they do and try to get that ball to roll, he got exactly the roll he needed.
This comes awfully close here to hitting Barge, and he got bumped out front. Nothing was called on the play, as Tavion Lawson gave him a shove. It's a 48-yard punt, no return.
Yeah, and it might even have bumped into him.
Yeah. So this drive starts at the 7. Now Chattanooga's got 1 timeout remaining. And so they'll probably try to use this where they can. And Jacksonville State, I would imagine, would be shooting for overtime here.
You would think so, but with a minute 42 and in this offense, nothing would surprise me. And I would expect to see Jenkins carrying that football somewhere along this first couple of downs.
Gives the Pope. He broke one last time.
Or Pope.
And he's got a first down here. He'll carry that ball up near the 20. Now the Gamecocks have all 3 timeouts left.
Well, they started with a minute 42. Here we go.
Need to get the football to the Chattanooga 35 within range of Rulo. And now the Gamecocks will use one of those 3 timeouts with 1:17 to go. Well, how aggressive do you get here, because you are still in territory where a turnover could cost you a game?
Yeah, and that's going to be interesting, but this has been the story of the day. What that guy right there, Pope, has been able to do and what he's been able to show in this football game. You know, we talked about all the things that he brings to the game, and it's size, it's speed, it's strength, and is this a guy who could maybe potentially play at the next level? Well, when you're averaging 7 yards a carry for the season, and you're over 1,100 yards for the season, this is a guy who knows how to find his way into the end zone.
Numbers for Pope, numbers for Jenkins. Let's talk about play calling right here and what Jacksonville State might want to try to dial up.
Well, you know, I wouldn't be opposed. They have not had any problems throwing the football. Now, they've had a little bit of safety help on some of these fade routes that they've been running to the outsides, and that was what really helped on that interception that bounced off of Barge's hands in the end zone just a couple of drives ago. So I wouldn't be afraid to put that ball up in the air.
He'll do it on play action, looking to the sidelines, but overshoots Gonzalez by about 5 yards. This is a benefit for Chattanooga because the clock stops, minute 12 to go. And the Mocs still have a timeout left. You make a stop here, and you can use that timeout.
And that's the problem with that particular route where you're running that fade route. Now, incomplete pass, all that type of thing, but I would have been looking towards the center of the field. Why not attack the center of the field?
Huge third down play for Jacksonville State, #1 in the country. On a 4-receiver set, Jenkins flushed out. And he throws. The ball is caught.
Oh, what a
looks like enough for a first down.
Oh, that's a generous mark. I'm not so sure he ever got that far downfield.
You see Josh Barge holding his hands up. Fifth catch of the day for number 12. That's a big one.
Wow.
And the spot is at the 30 with 1:04 left.
I'm not so sure he got the 30.
Well, that's reviewable too, by the way.
I'd want to look at that.
Clock running down to 50. Snap to Jenkins. He'll roll to his left. He's going to throw on the run with a right hand. Got a ran. Oh. Gonzalez. Did he get it? Yes.
Wow.
No, incomplete.
I was going to say, he looked like he's saying he caught it, but I don't know how in the world he caught it. Sure looked like that ball hit the ground.
We got tackled on the play to begin with.
Well, that was the thing I was looking for. I was looking to see, is there going to be a flag from anywhere coming, but
I don't know.
Yeah.
I think.
On a second look, it looks a little bit more like a catch, doesn't it?
Let's see from here. It looks like the ball did hit.
Yeah.
So it hit at the 23-yard line. It's the proper call.
Although it sure looked like the defender sure looked like he was in the midst of a tackle before that.
I agree. In fact, he was.
Yeah.
So C.J. Fritz, who has defended well till they got away with it. All right, 38 seconds to go. Back to live action. 2nd and 10 to the sidelines. And that's going to be a penalty on Fritz, I believe.
No, they didn't call that one either.
There is a flag thrown, though, back at the 30. One of the linemen is down. You're right, they did not call on Fritz, but somebody.
Chop block type thing. You know, whenever you see some one of the big guys up front.
And it's against Jacksonville State. Good call.
Personal foul, chop block, number 72 and 50, offense.
Both Blake
Half
Burks.
the distance to go. Repeat, second down.
Both Burks, the right guard, and the center, Casey Dunn. And the question is, did the chop block lead to this injury? Justin King from that front four of Chattanooga is down.
We talked about some of these transfers that they've had up front on both sides of the ball, but this big kid's out of Tennessee, University of Tennessee. So 50 and 72 right in the center of the screen. Got a roll from one side.
I would think this would change the play calling aggressive-ness of Jacksonville State here.
Oh, yeah.
Now overtime would be what they'd be aiming for, because they're 85 yards away.
Yeah, it sure does make it tougher, but shoot, he's been putting that ball up in the air, so.
Well, it's risky business,
Yeah,
but
it's
they've
risky
got four
business.
receivers on the outside. See if Jenkins calls his own number, as he has most of the day.
That's scary.
Back to the original line of scrimmage, and then some, with 25 seconds to go. I don't think any reason for Chattanooga to stop the clock.
No.
Now 15. These fans are restless. They want to see him put it up.
Well, and they had 2 timeouts, so if they're really going for it.
5 seconds left. Jenkins stepping up, throwing to the sidelines. It's caught. That's going to end regulation, though, unless he scores. We are going to overtime. Whew. I think it's only fitting.
Man, oh man, there was a lot of different things going on in this final drive here for Jacksonville State.
So some bonus football today.
Why not?
Spencer Goffigan in red, Jacob Huseman in white for the important coin toss for overtime.
Every possession will start 1st and 10 on the plus 25-yard line unless moved by a penalty.
Well, referee's just out there going through everything right now, but has this been a game or what, Jim? I tell you.
Terrific.
We talked about dual threat quarterbacks, but we also talked about defense. Well, we haven't seen a lot of defense, but we've seen a lot going on offense. Oh, boy.
Jacksonville State wins the toss. So Jacksonville State, when it gets the ball second, will be moving into the student section. Here are the rules. Coin toss for choice of offense, defense, or end of field. You just saw that. Each team gets one possession from the opponent's 25 per overtime until a winner is decided. No game clock. Play clock only. Must go for 2, starting with the 3rd overtime. Jim Barber. Pete Najarian from Jacksonville, Alabama.
It's been a beautiful day. I mean, we were in the 60s. You and I got the windows open here. We got our jackets off and watched some unbelievable quality, great football. We're not seeing a lot of missed tackles. We're not seeing a lot of penalties, as you mentioned earlier. Not a lot of mistakes in this game. Just great football down here in the South in Jacksonville, Alabama. Gotta love it.
And the winner gets Charleston Southern next week, either Friday or Saturday. Mox on offense first, Huseman to keep it. Inside the 20, and still going with the football. Got a nice push from his right guard, Blake Burks.
That's what those big guys are for, man.
The Bush push.
Yeah, get behind him and get him going.
Said Burks is a lot bigger than Reggie Bush was at Southern Cal.
That's a good way to start things out, though. Get yourself into a 2nd and 2. I actually thought there was a big enough hole there. Huseman hits it a little bit quicker. He got himself into the end zone, but 8 yards. They'll take 8 yards on first now.
Crane in the backfield. Crane gets the football, ran into his own man, and still may have enough for the first down.
Yeah, he got the first down, but yeah, he kind of ducked his head down. I think his first goal was first down. Next goal was to get towards the end zone, but he definitely got the first down. But you can see right there, runs into his own man and able to push that ball across to get himself the first down. Got over the top of Jeremy Huff.
What's a good call here?
I'll tell you what, they've come up with so many imaginary plays, I'm not even sure, but I like this. Look at this. Second time today that we've seen this, the double tight end set, the two wideouts on the outside.
Pistol formation, Huseman.
Gives him time.
Looking for Crane. Can he get there? It's intercepted! Picked off! 23, Brandon Bender, play of the game.
Well, this kid's been making plays all game long. He's the leading tackler going into overtime, and boy, that's the one mistake you can't make. You can't turn that ball over. Worst case, you go for the field goal. At least you're forcing them into something, but now Jacksonville, if they can just get that ball into position from that 25-yard line, but this ball underthrown, and when you underthrow the ball, that's the cardinal sin. You just can't do that under this circumstance. You'd rather overthrow it, but he underthrew it. Great job by Bender coming down with the football.
That is the 15th pick of the year for Jacksonville State, and very likely the biggest. They can now win it with a field goal. Let's see how they play this series.
Oh, you hate to see that. You know, Jacobs just got to be kicking himself. He had him. He had him, just underthrew him.
Any kind of score wins it for the Gamecocks. Jenkins to keep. Jenkins still with the ball inside the 15. Well within the range of kicker Connor Rulo.
The right guy's carrying the football. Not that Pope's not the right guy too, but I like seeing Jenkins hold on to that football and looking right up the gut, 10 yards downfield, maybe a little over 10 yards, got that first down. Keeping it again.
Yep. Heading to the end zone.
That's a touchdown.
Game over.
Woo. They're on the field. Well, Russ Huseman couldn't ask much more out of his team than the way they played today, coming into the #1 team in the country, going on the road, going toe-to-toe for 4 full quarters, going into overtime. But Eli Jenkins, he has had an answer every single time he's had the opportunity today. And how about that answer? 2 plays in from the 25, and he waltzed right into the end zone. That kid's special. Boy, he's a special player.
And a great shot of his counterpart there, Jacob Huseman, and the disappointment on his face in his final game as a member of the Rocks. They're the 2 head coaches, John Gross and Russ Huseman. And right now, a lot of words going back and forth. This is interesting.
They're really
what Huseman is mad about.
Yeah, I'm not quite so sure, but it's not bothering John Gross that much. He's got a big smile on his face now as they're walking off the field, and he should. That was a hard-fought battle. These 2 teams were absolutely incredible, but they came up on top. There's the interception. He just underthrows it. Jim, sorry about that. He just underthrows it. Just doesn't put enough on the ball.
And then Eli Jenkins to win it. He had 24 runs today for 195 and 3 touchdowns, including the game winner. Well, and Jacksonville State may be back at it Friday night. At the very least, either Friday or Saturday. They'll play Charleston Southern, a 14-6 win over the Citadel today. Colgate won in the other half of the bracket over James Madison, 44-38. What a finish. What a game.
Unbelievable. We talked about the dual threat quarterbacks at the top. Everybody knew that was really going to be the story, but Throw in Pope, throw in Trumaine Pope into that conversation as well, because the way he was able to run the football today for this Jacksonville football team has just been absolutely unbelievable, and the explosiveness, just incredible to watch what he was able to do. But Eli Jenkins put this team on his back, and those last 2 runs just said it all. It's exactly what this team has been all about. This guy really can do it all. He's a pretty amazing kid.
Gamecocks are going to get another home game out of this.
I think these fans are pretty happy about that.
Yeah.
I think the athletic department's pretty happy to get another stadium filled with people.
Well, isn't it fitting when you think about it? 2 previous games decided by 3 points each, and this one decided on the final play.
Yeah, going into overtime, the final play, just really spectacular. Offensively, defensively, obviously there are too many big plays to say that the defense has really stepped up, but there were times where the defenses did step up, did make a difference. But it was about this offensive shootout that we had today, and both teams just a lot of fun to watch as they got it into overtime. And Huseman should not feel bad. He had played a spectacular 4 quarters. Just that last pass, it'll be stuck in his brain, but he's an incredible quarterback.
For Pete and Jerry and Jim Barber, so long from Chattanooga, Tennessee. Our final score in a dandy. Jacksonville State 41, Chattanooga 35 in overtime. To watch this entire game or replay as well as other games on our family of ESPN networks, log on to watchespn.com or download the Watch ESPN app. This has been a presentation of ESPN.